Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
I've been telling the audience for a while to keep an eye on how your favorite media members, the ones who have dominated the last generation, how they age. And the way that Stugotz is aging is super interesting because he just said to you, and this is absolutely not true, as with many things that come out of his mouth. Stugotz does not make things up that he doesn't actually believe. He might turn it up from 8 to 10, but Stugotz, later in life, what I have noticed, as the climate has changed all around us, what he does is he starts the take, and then there's a version of horror that emerges from the shipping container. And then from within that, he decides whether to hit the gas or hit the brakes, depending on what it is that he's talking about. But he's absolutely looking for the response. And so when everyone jumps on him with Simone Biles, he's absolutely thinking, yeah, she needs to not hop when she lands on the dismount. That is not something he made up. That's something he felt when it happened. Like that's.
Yep.
And so when you guys react by jumping on his neck, what ends up happening there is, no, I'm going to press the gas because I know it doesn't matter whether or not I have an opinion that she hopped a little bit. I don't care which Simone Biles people I make angry because the shipping container is now sour and now he goes to the controversial place. He speeds up to the controversial place where the dangerous takes are. Amin came in here. You tell me if this is a bad, good take. Amin flew in here today upset because yesterday Stugotz spews so much shrapnel in so many different directions that none of us even noticed that he had said that if there were a bronze medal game in football for the #1 draft pick, it would get better ratings than the Super Bowl.
To be clear, he said some years.
Yes.
Depending on who the prospect is. And
it depends on the prospect, like Caleb Williams, and it depends on the Super Bowl matchup. Of course.
No, it doesn't. The Super Bowl will always draw more. It doesn't matter if. Here's the best part about football. I can't even name two teams that I'm like, oh, nobody cares about those two teams to play in the Super Bowl.
No,
right,
I can name one. Jacksonville.
Jacksonville versus what?
Jacksonville no one ever cares about Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, Carolina. Do you think that would be a Super Bowl no one would care about?
That's not true, Dan. Their fans are super loud these days. They're very into it. I would not say Jackson. I would have said it 10 years ago. I won't say it now.
Okay, and I'm going to remain totally stubborn in that take. And when Jacksonville does something that matters, you guys inform me of it.
Viral.
I might change it.
You get a Carolina Jacksonville Super Bowl. I mean,
versus what's the prospect?
Caleb Williams.
You think the Caleb Williams Bowl would draw more than Jacksonville versus Carolina for the Super Bowl?
Yes.
Stugotz, I love supporting you in all of your endeavors.
Wow.
But I cannot follow you down this path.
Wow. I mean, that seems crazy, but I need to know whether your assessment is that a bad, good take, because I think that what he's saying is insane, and I don't think it's a good take that's bad. I think it's a bad take that's bad.
Well, thank you.
I think it's an excellent bad take because it got me. I told everybody, this is a new phone. The phone that I had when I was listening to this yesterday, I shot it. I just unloaded with a Gatling gun and just it's shredded to pieces because not that he said it. I won't lie. You know what, Stugotz? It's an excellent bad take.
Thank you.
It's not because you said it that made me mad. What made me mad was that nobody even flinched. You guys just kept talking about whatever the conversation was. I was like, whoa, did you hear what this man just said?
I was so happy in the moment, I must tell you. Yeah.
I mean, you're right, and this is how I age, okay? playing whack-a-mole with him for 20 years, I've slowed down. I can't clean up everything. I'm going to miss a few, and it's going to be some obvious ones, and it's going to feel wrong to you because I missed it. It's my job to correct him. They don't care about correcting him. They just, you know, they're
to the audio audience. He just waved a dismissive hand at the entire shipping container. Like,
correct
they
me
don't
on what,
care.
though? I mean, what are you correcting me on? It's my opinion. I'm just giving an opinion.
But
I mean,
Stugotz, it's an asinine opinion. There is nothing that football can create, real or imagined, that would be bigger than the Super Bowl.
I just gave you something.
I'll tell you how it would be better if Mahomes had to play in that game. Then maybe that game would outrate the Super Bowl. But Dan, it's not just the dominion of Stugotz. They're saying ridiculous things that nobody pushes back on. Yesterday, you waxed poetically, you mused how you could not imagine a scenario where America would gather around a television to watch sports in today's day and age. And you guys said, oh my God, these Olympics have been different. And I said, Dan, NBC paid $8 billion. That wasn't just on a whim. Everyone was like, these Olympics were different. You know why they were different? Because the ones before them were a year off and in Tokyo and were suppressed by COVID, suppressed by the time zone difference. But if you go back to the Olympics before that, 2016, we were absolutely doing this. Remember doing Ryan Lochte getting arrested and making up a story about how he got robbed by, gunmen in the Rio kind of favelas or whatever. There were so many incredible stories from those Olympics, and we were all doing exactly what we're doing right now. There's nothing.
This show was not.
Absolutely. Right. We didn't talk about Ryan Lochte every damn day.
You're mentioning one thing about Ryan Lochte here, and we did not spend the time talking about Michael Phelps that we did about Simone Biles. We absolutely did not.
He's right, Amin.
Not this
You
show.
guys didn't talk about Michael Phelps?
We did.
No, we did not. No,
did.
man.
I was here. What are you talking about?
I mean, yes, we talked about Michael Phelps, but this show did not obsess with the Olympics. It absolutely did not. There is literally zero content, specific content that anyone can remember from that time period done by this show because we did nothing memorable during that time period.
Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, and Kyrie Irving?
Speaking of memories, you also said on Monday, and I didn't check you for this, that Kevin Durant and the USA squad might remember that game against Belgium for the rest of their lives, but you won't. And dare I say, if I catch your ass at 90 and I'm on your bed at the hospital, like, damn, remember when the USA beat the Joker in them? You could be like, yeah, what?
You know what?
That'd be an odd time to ask.
It would.
I'm saying, I'm proving my point.
Loved ones all around him. Like, hold on, I want to paint this picture out. Dan's there. There's like everyone. Valerie's there holding his hand. We're all there. We're crying. I'm old and gray. I've lost all my hair. And Juju walks up, and Juju looks exactly the same because Juju doesn't age. And he says, "Hey Dan, remember that Serbia game?" And then Dan's eyes widen. And like the welling of a tear, and we thought he was non-communicative. He's reacting, and then he looks at Juju and says, "No."
Sounds like a wonderful ending. Honestly, I hope that all of that happens. I hope that I last till that long. But what I'm going to say to you then is, no, I don't, Juju. I don't remember what. Tell me what happened in that game. I'm an old man, and you told me 40 years ago that this would be the case, but I don't remember anything about the end of that game because I did not experience the bronze medal game that way.
I'd just be there for the will.
And fiddling with the machines to make sure that
make it go quicker.
Do you have as soon as he dies?
I wouldn't do that to you.
Do you have it as soon as he dies, the will is just read out loud to everyone in the hospital?
Crack
room?
it open. Yep.
You got it lined up. Dan's the opening act. The headliner is the will reading.
Am I alone on this amongst all of you when I say that I don't believe that I don't believe that the Serbia game will even be as memorable as the one that was played after that? Like, you can't tell
That's
me
fair.
that, like, okay, but you guys are saying now you're going to make it 2 games for all time were just played during the Paris Olympics by a team that was an overwhelming favorite?
I might pair them together. Like, I might just remember this Olympics and those 2 games because the other ones weren't all that memorable. And so when you look back at it and you say, like, oh, man, they had to beat Jokic and Wemby. because ultimately Wemby will be remembered that way. And so in 10, 15 years from now, it'll be like, oh my God, how did they go through those two players in those close games?
Because they had
this
12
will
of
be even,
them.
but it'll be even more memorable. At the end of their careers, LeBron and Steph and Durant taking down the MVP and the future best player ever. We'll remember it even more 20 years from now.
Jeremy's right. We absolutely will make Wemby way better than what he actually was. In the same way
Yep.
they say, how did LeBron and Dwayne Wade and Melo lose an Olympic gold? How they win bronze? Because they were 7 years old when they played in that thing.
Well, how could they possibly beat a 20-year-old Wemby with a team with so many stars that Jason Tatum couldn't get on the floor? Jason Tatum, I saw, was 0 for 16 on jumpers during the Olympics.
Yeah. A little bit of a cold
Semantics.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Is Jason Tatum being 0 for 16 in the Olympics on jumpers semantics? Yes or no? The women's gold medal game, you guys saw the number, the rating that did at 9:30 in the morning on a Sunday, starts at 7 million and gets up close to 11 million by the end. Some people were objecting to my assessment that women's team, does anyone in this room object to the assessment that women's team, to me, was the equivalent of the 92 men's team for women, the first giant team of stars that everyone is overwhelmed by and paying attention to?
Wasn't the 96 a women's team?
That's what I was going to say.
They started a league because of that one.
Definitely 96 was like the moment for that team. But I think this was a really exciting game because you're never gonna get the chance to play the home country's team on their home court the evening after they just lost in heartbreaking fashion to the NBA stars. There was so much energy in that building from all the accounts of all the reporters and fans that were there that I've heard talk about it, that was a really unique kind of mashing of all these different emotions. And so I mean, that game was great. I was super nervous watching it because I really wanted the U.S. to win, but it was super exciting.
I'm never going to forget that game. There, beat that.
Mm-hmm. The reason that I make the assessment that I do on it is I'm not making it about the team as much as I'm making it about the interest. There has been no time in my lifetime that a women's Olympic basketball team would get 11 million people for a game on a Sunday morning because everybody deeply cares about the result and is also watching because they know it's a loaded team and they're more familiar with the players than they've ever been. There's a stardom on the team that wasn't associated with players who were less known in 96 just because fewer people knew to pay attention and were ignorant about what they were watching.
I do think there were more people that watched the Tokyo women's gold medal game, though, because it was on during prime time. I think it was a 10:30 Eastern start. So I would disagree with you there. I think Breanna Stewart and Asia Wilson and Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner, they were pretty big stars 3 years ago in that game, and I think that shows via how many people watched that game.
Were there bigger numbers for that game in Tokyo during prime time?
I think it was very similar, but maybe slightly more, and I think that attributes to the time change too, because 6:30 a.m. on the West Coast for a gold medal match on Sunday, a lot of people are not going to be able to get up for that.
Getting back to what it is that Stugotz was saying about trying to whack these takes that are bad, good takes. Mm-hmm. Do you have any of those today? Do you have anything that you've sharpened up today? Or is today a slower day for you? You can't throw fastballs all the time. You need days of rest.
I don't force these things, Dan. They just have to come to me. I will let you know. I'm marinating on a few, and I will get back to you ASAP on this. Okay.
Does Amin have any? Maybe Steph and LeBron? Do you have anything related? Anything? It doesn't have to be basketball, I suppose. Do you have a bad, good take or a good, bad take?
I think I have a good take, but maybe I'm just being biased.
Well,
because we did this on Oddball and we posted it, and the reaction, I was kind of staggered that I don't think people really listened to what I was talking about. I said, look, we've had NBA players since 1992 play in the Olympics, and great players have played together. Grant Hill and Shaq played together, and obviously Kevin Garnett and Gary Payton played together in 2000, and so on and so forth. Obviously, 2008 is the most famous one because we got the actual joining of LeBron and Wade and Bosh because of that. But I've never felt in my life in any of those Olympics the idea of walking away no, these two people need to be on the same team together for basketball, for the sake of beautiful basketball, and it's LeBron and Steph. I never thought it could ever look this good. I was just like, it was. A lot of people said it online. It was like, it's like Draymond supercharged. I'm like, no, it's like Draymond if freaking Galactus came down and gave him superpowers and called him one of his heralds. There's no way in hell that you can tell me there's ever been a more perfect match of two great players than LeBron and Steph. It was amazing. And I said, I realized right then and there, any sort of petty kind of biases that we might have, like, oh, I hate the Lakers, they should never play together, or like, oh, the Warriors get too much. Doesn't matter. Oh, LeBron always plays in a stacked. Who cares? I'm not even talking about playing on a stacked roster. I don't care if the rest of the roster is Stugotz and freaking Bronny and Chris Cody, right?
Yep.
I'm saying that LeBron and Steph. Yeah.
What would our record be?
62 and
Me,
20.
Bronny, Stugotz, and Steph and LeBron.
That's a starting five. I mean,
Boy, y'all ass to be 0 and 70.
Hell,
What you talking about?
hell no.
we have
Hey,
LeBron and Steph, man. I mean,
hey, Juju, welcome to the good bad take. Yeah, 62 wins. That's what they'd win.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Better combo together for beautiful basketball, Shaq and Kobe or Curry and LeBron? I left here yesterday thinking something that I regret not saying.
Jordan and Pippen. I mean,
Way better. How about that? Way better. Not just better. Way better.
You've got Curry and LeBron being way better?
I've got 40-year-old LeBron and however old Curry is, 37 or whatever, better than Jordan
Boy,
Pippen.
do I have a proposal
In
for
their
you,
prime.
Amin.
that is a
Brought
good
it up
bad
on our
take.
board yesterday.
What's up?
After just a couple of years on their contracts, LeBron James and Steph Curry, both free agents. Guess who has a ton of cap space in those seasons? Your Miami Heat.
What's the matter, Dan?
Just Jeremy. Stephon Marbury said yesterday, because he doesn't like LeBron, that Michael Jordan, you shouldn't put LeBron James in the same breath with Michael Jordan.
My man.
Can I get to what I'm saying, or you want to say what you have?
Small
before
windows. I just
can
gave him
get
a
to,
my
like,
man. That's it. Yeah, he knew what I was going to give him there.
Get
Right.
to what I'm
right.
saying.
Yeah. No, but I did the right thing there. Don't
I'm
get mad
just
at me.
trying, man, I'm trying to set
I'm
something
not
up
trying to
here.
derail it. I just really
You're
quick.
not. You're not.
I'm not. Just say it real quick. So, according to Stephon Marbury, I got to go Michael Jordan, LeBron James.
Okay.
Yeah, I was setting that up. You could have given me the chance to set that up.
The flow. I mean, you know. Good job.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, asshole.
Yes, you're the asshole
Good call,
because
Zebra.
you come flying in here, you sit in the seat, and I'm trying to set something up, and you're like, no, I've got something better, even though I don't need to hear even what you're doing to tell you I've got something better than whatever you've got.
He was looking around for the asshole. That's if it was it.
He was saying, I'm the asshole. He's looking like I should leave. Yes, like I should leave. And I wanted to know first, where does that expression come from? Because I do feel like it is totally reasonable to say that LeBron belongs in the same breath as Michael Jordan.
Oh, jeez. I mean,
In the
waited around for that?
In the same in the same breath. I want to understand, did the Dutch invent that when they were holding a finger up to the sky after they had licked their finger? Because it seems like it'd be pretty easy. I don't know how long your breath lasts while speaking, but it would be pretty easy to give LeBron the respect that at the end of whatever that trailing breath is, it's okay to put him in the conversation with LeBron James.
So you can't take a breath when you're doing it. I mean, technically, you're not allowed to. If you're going to put them in the same breath, you cannot breathe while you're giving the take. I like this.
Or you can't take a second breath while talking. I don't know how many names you think you can list on a single breath before taking another breath. How many do you think? If because
It used to be a lot more for me. I mean,
yes, your lung capacity does diminish some with age. But the point that I was going to make about Kevin Durant that I forgot to make on the way, we were talking yesterday about his general happiness and how it seems like he's been fighting the internet for 15 years. Can you imagine, from this perspective, being Kevin Durant? You're trying to be the best all the time, and you're a clearly unprecedented basketball player for any age. but you happen to live in the time of LeBron and Curry, so you're always the bronze medalist, and you're only the bronze medalist because you teamed up with Curry. Then you get to the Olympics, and we remember that first half when you went 8 for 8, but what do we remember? Oh, third place again on his own team all the time. And the internet's always there to remind you what the real difference is, they think, between being number 1 and being number 3. And we will make all sorts of arguments. And if you're internet addicted and you think you know basketball and you're great at basketball, you're obviously great at basketball. You're like, 15 years, I got to spend all this time fighting with all-time greats of my generation, 2 of whom will be remembered for all time, because they have no precedent, and I'm always finishing third except that one year where I joined Steph and I needed his help to do what I did. That'd be pretty frustrating if I was a person who was fighting the internet all the time and getting caught up in the stupidity of people, splitting hairs on sports arguments.
I think what's frustrating, first off, I'll take third best basketball player in the world. Secondly, I think what's frustrating to basketball fans is you can obviously see the talent of Kevin Durant. We see it all the time. And when you see it, you say to yourself, that guy didn't need to join that team. That guy could have beat that team, and he chose not to.
But Stugotz, you make that point all the time, and what I'm telling you is...
That's a good take.
What I'm telling you, though, is in retrospect, I'm guessing that part of Kevin Durant's greatest frustrations is, what, Stugotz? I did the thing you guys were telling me for 10 years I needed to do.
No.
I needed to win, and then I give you the thing that you wanted, and you tell me on the back end after I've won, nah, you didn't do it the way I wanted you to do it.
Sometimes it's where you win, how you win, with who you win, and he made a bad decision. I'm sorry. I mean, championships are different. Winning a championship with Golden State would not have meant as much to Kevin Durant's legacy as winning just one in Oklahoma City.
My larger point is I would understand if I were him why it is he has a scowl all the time, fighting with people like you over, I tried to do it your way, but it wasn't the right way. Because if he was, no, it's not your way, but he was trying to please people by just winning. That was the only indictment on his resume. The reason we weren't putting him with LeBron and Curry is because he couldn't beat LeBron and Curry. Like, that's the reason we weren't putting him in that company reputationally. And if you're fighting the internet all the time and the internet's always there for you to bother you about how you're not quite good enough, I do understand how somebody would arrive at a place where he's just pissed off or bothered or less happy than he could be, less joyful than he could be.
Are you basing that joy off of the slide picture? Because I'm with you there. That was not a we. That was not. He was not happy to be there.
Right.
But he did seem very happy after that game to get to the final. Like, that seemed as happy as we've ever seen him.
Right, I don't think he's joyous at all. He just put out a mixtape, and it was sounding good to me. I know a couple of his friends in real life. Like, he's a fun guy, in my opinion. He just ain't gonna finna let you talk to him any kind of way, like me.
He put it on the poll.
I think he is publicly. What are we putting on the poll?
Is Juju like Kevin Durant?
Let's not put that on the
Is
poll.
Kevin Durant like Juju?
Is Kevin Durant like
No,
Juju?
my confidence is already shattered, and I don't need more help.
How about was that a we? Because it was not a we. I'm telling you. It was
The
not
arms
enjoyable.
are saying we.
The arms for sure are saying we. That's indisputable. But Jessica, if we could do a little bit more of a close-up on Kevin Durant's face, if we have the capacity to do that.
Only if you close up on his arms, too.
The arms are absolutely saying we, and it is wonderful to think of that's how Kevin Durant rides a slide. But it is the most joyful Kevin Durant photo we've ever seen, and he looks like he's not, his face does not look happy.
He may have just gotten some water in his eyes, and he had to close his eyes for a second. A photo is just a snapshot in time. We can't really know definitively if he was saying we, but we do know that he put his arms up as if to say we.
Do you think Steph Curry says we when he's going down a slide? Imagine Steph going down a slide. He would not have a bitter face.
He's definitely saying we. So is LeBron. They're all saying we.
Yeah, LeBron's a weir.
Kevin,
Yeah.
LeBron, Steph, they're all weers.
Who's going down head first, you think, on the team?
Halliburton.
Yeah, he didn't have to do anything. He's all refreshed.
Drew Holiday might go
Yeah, I
down
can see
head
that too.
first.
I loved Tyrese Halliburton's tweet, by the way. What a great when you are in the group project and you don't have to do anything and you get an A. Love that.
I can't believe that Stugotz hasn't objected to the news I'm about to deliver to him. I am surprised he hasn't heard about it because I don't think that he has. Hoops Hype has now said for the first time ever that LeBron James ranks ahead of Michael Jordan on its list of, weirdly, the 78 greatest basketball players of all time.
How'd they come to that number? I mean, it's weird. It's a good bad take.
Did anyone in the room have a when you found out that the Commanders have Martavius Bryant?
I definitely
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Hadn't played in 6 years. That's a long way. That's a long time to be outside of football. And that, talk about somebody who looked the part, Stugotz. I thought that guy physically, I know that name, not because of anything he did in the league, but because, that guy's going to be great, right? Look at him.
How could he not be?
And so he's great enough, because this takes a special kind of athleticism, to not play for 6 years and just end up being on a team.
He played in the XFL, by the way, just to be fair. He was
Okay.
a great receiver over there. But I still feel what you're saying.
Fair enough. I did not know, though, that Martavius Bryant was back in the league. That was not something that had come across my radar. I wanted to ask you guys something, because I read something yesterday that had to feel like a big deal for GQ magazine. And I don't assume that GQ magazine feels like a big deal very much these days. I don't know that anybody in magazines feels like they're a big deal these days. But they got George Clooney and Brad Pitt together in France, put them on the cover, interviewed them, and it was an interesting interview of two movie stars late in life who care less what people think than they ever had. And it made me think, right, because the demo on this is old, but it made me wonder whether these two guys are whatever it was that Clark Gable was supposed to be in a different time. Like, are people picking up that magazine and being interested because the dinosaur movie stars, Tom Cruise, George Clooney, Brad Pitt, they're not going to be around very much longer as giant movie stars. No, I'm not killing them. I think in general, the movie star of that age, unless he morphs into an action star, doesn't get a long sustained run after this.
I feel like Tom Cruise is just getting started. I mean,
put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is Tom Cruise just getting started? But it felt to me like I was reading something from a different time. Do I have that wrong? The rest of you, would you be interested? Would you pick up? I guess what I'm asking you is, does George Clooney and Brad Pitt on the cover have the star power so that you would either make sure to search out a link or, and this is the greatest compliment you can give in a publishing age that is dying, buy a magazine? Does that make you buy a magazine in 2024?
Dan, the only way I can crystallize the argument for you is to say, okay, what's the opposite? If it's Timothy Chalamet and Tom Holland, do you think people are like, oh, we got to read that one?
Yes.
I swear, I just said that back here.
Yes.
Like, I don't care. George Clooney, Brad Pitt, whatever. Give me a little Timothy Chalamet. All right, man, I'm in.
Do you think Timothy Chalamet is an interesting person?
Yeah, I actually do.
You do?
Because he's just a Jewish kid from New York who's a theater kid who somehow became cool.
So
and I don't know how to do that because I'm not cool.
Well, you're not from New York.
You are cool.
That's
Don't
the
do
part.
that. You cool, brother. You
Hey,
cool. Also,
thanks, Gigi.
I know who Clark Gable is, but I think Chris was asking around the room, who is that, brother?
yeah.
I'm talking about movie
Fair
stars
question.
from a different time. Speaking of which, give me the stat of the day here. I want more stats of the day, and I want more people looking up stuff like this. Because if you thought Clark Gable was old, wait till you see what I drop on you now.
Start of the day, it is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is your start of the day.
I found this out yesterday. Don't ask me how. Bela Lugosi,
What?
the original Dracula, was buried in his
What?
in his Dracula cape. The original movie. Bela Lugosi, the original movie Dracula, at the start of movies.
Bela Lugosi was born in 1882.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Five
right.
wives.
That's right. 5
Two
wives.
of them named Alona.
a terrible
Back to back.
drug problem.
Back to back?
Alcohol problem.
Rest in power, King.
What are the chances?
Hold on. That's like, wasn't there a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode where Leon was going to Japan with this girl he's dating?
And he was trying to find someone with the same name. to
Because
use
they
the
broke
ticket
up,
on.
yeah. Is that what Bela Lugosi did? And
This is like
successfully?
Stugotz being buried in his Travis Matthews hat and hoodie when he dies.
Put it on the poll, Juju. If you were the original Dracula, would you want to be buried in Dracula's cape?
I feel like I would. Did he have the teeth in too?
Blah.
Well, I also feel like you would in the event that you can come back to life and then have to be seen as presentable in public like
Yeah,
a
he'll be
vampire.
able to turn into a bat easier.
I wanted to ask you guys about something that happened yesterday here that I was surprised at the intensity of people who were simply saying that person is lying to you. That is a lie. The Le Batard Show likes to just talk to people who spew bullshit. And it wasn't Nate Silver.
Oh,
even though many of you had a problem
Was
with
it me?
Nate Silver. It wasn't Stugotz.
Chuck?
Right.
Yeah, a whole lot of people thought that Charles Barkley was full of shit, saying that he could have had an offer at minimum $100 million more than what he's being paid, 10 years, $220 million by TNT. And I'm like, that's not surprising to me at all. Like, I would think that NBC or Amazon might double his salary if they were trying to get a name like that, trying to get into sports. And I was just surprised by the sheer number of people. Now, so Charles comes out. Think about this. Think about what's happening here. Charles says all the syrupy stories about there's so many people in this family of employees. We've all worked together for a long time, and I heard so many heartbreaking sob stories about mortgages and children that one day in the middle of the night on a network that wasn't appropriate for him to do it, he just retires. He says, I'm retiring because he's so fed up. And then he comes on yesterday and he says, in the bidding for his services, NBC, Amazon, ESPN, he would have never gone to ESPN. NBC and Amazon fighting for the rights to Charles Barkley, he says that the offers were at least $100 million better minimum. And he did it at least in part because he wanted to go back and be with those people, all of whom had a contract for another year. They all have a contract for another year so that they would have, some security for their future and he wouldn't have to hear more of those conversations. And so many people not only called him a bullshit liar, they said, why didn't you just take the $100 million and create a fund for those 200 employees so that you can pay them? And I just was mystified by an act of generosity spoken by Charles Barkley, not volunteered, in answer to a question, because he answers all questions, that people's immediate reaction, so many of them, would be, he's lying. That's bullshit.
He also turned down the live people as well, right? And that was a big bag, so I believe him.
I don't know how many people knew before he said it out loud that he was making upwards of $20 million a year on this current deal that was not signed like this year, right? So for people like, oh, no way, like, did you know he was making that much already? That's the part I think people are missing is that, yeah, this dude is the highest paid man in sports TV, maybe all of television that's not like scripted TV, right? So the idea that he turned down that money, like, yeah, I don't even flinch. Of course I believe him.
Oh, but I'm more interested in the examination of the other thing.
Oh.
What is happening there? What is happening? I know social media is an angry place. I know that we are less trustful in general of any information. But what is happening that would create what I thought was a surprising reaction which is, oh, that's a nice story. That's a nice thing to do. Bullshit liar.
I don't really have an answer. All I know is that Lewis came in afterwards and started talking to me about his mortgage. I mean, it was uncomfortable. I sent them to you, by the way. I mean, I think, Dan, people they're struggling with this. Right now, people are just struggling financially. So to hear a guy who's already making a lot of money say on the radio, hey, or on a podcast, say, hey, I turned down offers that were for at least $100 million more, which I believe, by the way, I do think that media outlets would pay Charles Barkley pretty much whatever Barkley wants if he was willing to leave Turner Sports. He's not. He's going to stay there. But I think people just don't want to hear that right now because they're struggling to make ends meet. They're struggling on a daily basis, and they don't want to hear a guy who's already making that much money say, hey, I turned down over $100 million, and I did it because I care about these people. They don't want to hear it.
The internet is always going to amplify the most like extreme Stugotzian takes too. By the way, like they love a take, so you're going to see like the unfiltered, like angriest replies. But I do think like since I don't know, as long as I've been alive, people have been very cynical of wealthy people saying that they've done anything altruistically. So I think that may just be what it is.
As they should, but also Dan, to her point. He could have said, I took the $100 million and I created a fund to pay for the employees. And someone would have said, just $100 million?
Right. Prove
Right.
it.
There's always another step.
How much is each getting?
Yeah.
Bro, they hated Jesus, man. Come on. Of course they're going to hate on Chuck.
I think it's probably a combination of both of those things. I mean, your timing's a little off today. This happens sometimes when you're off for a little bit. Your timing's a little off.
Dude, because you just steamrolled past what he said. They hated Jesus. Of course, they're going to hate Chuck. And all I can think of is, what kind of crucifix would they have to build to hold up Charles Barkley? That's gotta be corrugated steel, reinforced with adamantium.
He's lost weight. What an unnecessary shot we're taking right here.
Oh, man. The joke I could make could be so much more.
But you didn't make it.
No, but I'm not going to make it.
Oh, the joke he could make. That's good.
Dude,
That's
I'm
good.
going to tell y'all in the break.
But we stopped Dan dead in his tracks.
Oh, my God. Well.
Like Jesus.
or Jesus.
We stopped Dan dead in his tracks because we had to stop. What I steamrolled was Juju saying they hated Jesus. Of course, they're going to hate Chuck. A good point. Jesus has been used that way as an analogy wherever there's hate since Jesus. So we could have steamrolled past it. We would have been okay.
It's the comparison. See, what you're not understanding is there's a disparity between what we traditionally think of Jesus Christ and his build versus that of Charles Barkley. See, Jesus is usually depicted as a fairly skinny man with great abs, by the way, I might add, right?
Yes, yes.
While as Charles,
Six-pack.
He has the V.
yeah,
Put it on the poll. Did Jesus have the D'Angelo? Well, Chris is obsessed with. No. Chris is obsessed with this day. Let me explain to everybody here what happened to Chris today. We went out to Dolphins camp.
Oh, man. Who put me in the middle?
Hold on.
What a day.
Hold on. You guys are over eager today, man. You guys want to get in there before I set up anything for the audience.
excited.
So we go out to Dolphins camp yesterday, and Chris Cody is sitting between Stugotz and extraordinarily fit people on a sofa. And he's tugging at his shirt, and helpful staff is coming over and moving his shirt around. And he comes in today and he asks Danny, I heard this when I walked in. Hey, Danny, did it look like I have boobs? Is the question that I heard him ask.
I was like, how fat did I look yesterday, really? I'm not a middle guy on a couch. I'm an end guy.
Right.
And they were like, get in the middle. And I was like, okay, fine. And like the whole time I'm like having to sit with my arms like straight. And a couple times Jessie, our makeup person, came over and like pulled my shirt out. And I was just like, she obviously is seeing something she doesn't like in the camera. Like that, she wouldn't come over here if it all looked good. And I'm just like, I just hate all of this. I got Jalen Phillips sitting next to me. He's just like,
impossible to look good.
Wait, your shirt was getting stuck in your underboob?
yeah, like at one point she came up and like pulled my shirt out at my stomach
it hot?
area. It was outside. It was hot.
Little sweat patches?
I don't know.
Right here?
Chris, I had the same concerns. There was one point where, we spoke to some Dolphin players. One of them was Tua. There was a good 3 or 4 minutes where you and I didn't talk. I was sucking my stomach in the entire time. And then he turned to us. He said, are you guys going to say anything? And I let it out. There's no way that's going to come out looking flattering for me and Chris.
They couldn't even see you past me. They had to like move like
I know.
It was just
it was
awkward.
odd. Yeah.
I'm sorry about that, Chris.
Danny says I didn't look that fat, though, so we'll see. Stay tuned.
But knowing your angles is important. This is why I always sit in this chair, and I never sit in Stugotz's chair.
Oh, the worst chair.
Terrible camera angle.
The worst.
Dan's chair is pretty bad too. The lighting just glares so hard right there. I don't like sitting in your chair. Also because it's kind of sunken for some reason.
It's weird.
The Tua conversation, I want to underpromise and overdeliver, but I will simply tell you I haven't heard him that way before.
Man.
Now it's not that I have, and it'll be either today or tomorrow that we end up getting that for you. But I was a little bit surprised for a couple of reasons, and there's only one other time that this particular thing has happened to me with a professional athlete of any kind. When Edgerrin James came out of college at the University of Miami, he was physically, obviously, very much a man, but he didn't have very much personality coming out that he was willing to show people. For wherever his distrusts lied, I was like, man, that's a super guarded person. And then 3 years of NFL stuff happened to him, and I met him and talked to him 3 years later, and I was like, whoa, you have like really grown up. Whatever the intensity of the last 3 years have been like really formative for you in a way that's substantive, that makes me go from thinking I was looking at a bit of a child coming out of college to, okay, 3 years of real world, I got money now, and everyone's coming for me, and I've got to compete against everyone to get better, and I'm going to win. The confidence that that's given you, holy shit, this is a different human being I'm talking to. When Tua came out of college before he was drafted on Lincoln Road there, I did like a corporate thing where I interviewed him for an hour in front of a bunch of people, and Dominique afterward pulled me aside and was like, you were pulling teeth there, huh? You had to work. That was a crowbar that you had to use to get in there and try for an hour to get something out of Tua. What I saw and heard yesterday was a different human being from that. Like the amount of confidence that that person has after whatever the fire of 3 years has been, I was like, holy, he's not making me do I don't have to do anything here. He wants to carry the conversation.
Yes.
And he wants to say things.
I'm going to guess 167 million guaranteed helps you with a lot of that confidence. And
Well, not only that, but having a head coach who believes in you. I think that's the big difference for Tua. At least that's what I took away. Having a head coach that absolutely wants you to be his quarterback because he thinks you're the best quarterback for his system.
It can be all of those things. I'm not saying that having the money doesn't make you happier and give you more confidence.
Not happier, confident. Like when you're a rookie, you're like, I don't want to say anything that's going to ruin it. I'm going to end my career by just saying, because Dan is the guy who asks questions that makes people say dumb things and all that. But it's like $167 million, and you give me Stugotz and Chris asking me, ask away.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's part of it. This was different. This was a different guy. I walked away. I told Dan and Chris, I want that guy to be my quarterback. I want him to lead me somewhere.
You want anyone to be your quarterback.
Well, I have Aaron, but I mean.
We're doing that thing of we're overselling it. So, but I'm going to keep doing it. There were times in that interview where me, Dan, and Stugotz are kind of looking at each other like he's just going, and we're like, this is holy crap. This is a two I've never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he took out Flores.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Not give it away. I mean.
No, there's multiple answers there where I was just like, man, this is as interesting as I've ever heard him on this topic.
And
we
when
talk
will we get to hear
contracts
this?
tomorrow. We're gonna air it tomorrow.
Teaser.
Yeah, you got to do a better job. You can hear the whole Tua interview tomorrow on the Dan Le Batard Show at 9 a.m. Eastern on
Much
Max, right? And on YouTube.
You're asking a question? Like
Are you asking or promoting?
This is part of
Right.
the problem. You went from, but it's the reason I don't promote anything that way. It's because I've always got a question because I don't know when anything's going to run about here. I don't know when anything's going to be ready.
Question mark.
That's it, right? That's why I can't promote it differently than that. I'll wait around for it to be at some point aired. I will just tell you that I was surprised by it.
You can dictate that, man. You want it to air today? Tell the people you want it to air today. I mean, let's go.
I also just imagine like watching NBC, watching a game, And then you see like LA Law on at some point this week. I don't know. Stay tuned. Check your local listings.
I was just told we can't do it today.
Yes, Stugotz, you say dictate that. I'll be waiting to see if we got a gas bag of the week this week. I've asked for it 12 times, and it comes in occasionally.
Because you got Beetlejuice back there running the boards. It's the drinking head, man. Salute. Call back.
I have.
That's a deep cut, Juju. I was not gonna lie. I was like, who did he just call Beetlejuice?
The thing that I was watching yesterday that I wanted to ask you guys about, because I haven't done this a lot in my life, where I re-binge watch something because I liked it so much the first time. I've done it only in my life with The Sopranos, and now I am doing it in the middle of Succession, and I think Succession is one of the best television shows of all time. But I also think that HBO has 3 shows. I wouldn't put Game of Thrones in this category. I guess many of you would. But I think they have 3 shows that are best ever argument type shows, all of them about crime families and all of them about a time that we were in. The Wire, The Sopranos, and Succession. I believe Succession is indicative of a time when we talk about people being angry at rich people because rich people are assholes and not altruistic, and the difference between the haves and the have-nots is probably the greatest problem that we have affecting all of our structural stuff, that there's such a larger difference now between Elon Musk and the power that he can accrue and people who are frustrated and struggling day to day, trying, peeing in gallons for Bezos so that he could keep making more money.
Not Hard Knocks, huh?
Not Hard Knocks, no. And I wanted to ask the group of you, how often will you go and re-binge watch something? And the reason I put Game of Thrones in a different category is just because I think of that as like an 800-hour movie, or like however. I don't think of that as a television show, although I suppose it has to be considered a television show. But these 3 that I'm talking about represent sort of a generation, a time, and a love that we have for understanding crime families.
I'm a big rewatcher. Like I'll rewatch all my favorite comedies over and over and over again, and just finish one and go back and have another in the holster for almost the nostalgia of it. It's like a comfort thing.
Comedy,
but dramas are different.
You're talking about movies, though, right? Or you're talking
No,
about...
I'm talking about TV shows. So, like, for example, all of those shows Mike Schur has worked on, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Office, Parks and Rec, I'll rewatch those. No, whether it's New Girl or Veep or any of those shows.
I'm rewatching Veep right now.
Yeah.
Just got to finally, Richard Splett has arrived, and we are really picking up steam.
The best.
What a great show.
There's
Highly recommend, especially in an election cycle.
There's also comfort shows that you just put on all the time. Like Modern Family, I've probably watched 3 times just because we're always watching it. Seinfeld, I feel like I've seen every episode. But in terms of like from start to finish, I don't do that a lot. It's more just like the fun, light listens.
I've been doing it with Eastbound and Down. And I forgot how great that show was.
So good.
And Vice Principals. Oh, my God.
Oh, that's next. That's next.
Speaking of crime families on HBO, Righteous Gemstones.
Oh, yeah.
Hung.
I rewatch shows whenever that show has a new season. Like Mayor of Kingstown. Mayor of Easttown. I'm talking about the Mayor of Kingstown.
He's talking about the one with Jeremy Renner, right?
The guy, he looks like Stugotz. I rewatched from season 1 once season 3 come out, so I do that with every show.
Wait, there's a mayor of Kingstown and a mayor of Easttown?
Yes, mayor of Kingstown is Mayor. Mayor of Easttown is MEER. Yes.
That one's depressing, right? That one, I have not gotten into that one. That one,
Kate Winslet.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty good though. You got to watch it.
But it is sad, right?
It's very sad.
It's
yes,
gray. Chris, I just wanted. There was a stray hung that shot through the conversation there.
You guys don't binge that one? I go back.
Never heard of it.
You ever watch Hung?
You don't remember Hung on HBO?
What about True Blood with Sucker Stackhouse?
Sucker.
My wife makes fun of me because if I'm watching anything for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. It's just to watch one of these dark side of comedy, dark side of the wrestling ring.
You love dark sides, man.
It is.
Thank you.
It is 90s. Give me just nostalgic 90s 90s things for 12 minutes at a time. Dave Hyde of the Fort Lauderdale Sun-Sentinel, still making it in the columnist game, had a take, and I want you guys to tell me whether it's a good take, a good bad take, a bad good take, or a bad take.
All right.
He says, yeah, it's to his team, but can I interest you in the backup, Ryan Tannehill?
He's back?
Ryan Tannehill. He is he's
available.
He's available
Yes.
in the league. We spent 7 years here arguing whether he was a starting quarterback or not. I imagine Ryan Tannehill might look pretty good with these receivers, as a lot of people might look pretty good with this offense. Oh, Chris Cody shaking his head. No,
I vote no. It's just
PTSD.
I don't want to those feelings of just I've done that before, and it's just.
But it's your backup.
It's your backup.
all right,
Mike White's fine.
Yeah, but Tua doesn't play games sometimes, and I never, ever, ever want to see Ryan Tannehill wear a Dolphins uniform ever again. I
Ryan
can't do it.
Tannehill has led a team to an AFC championship game.
Stugotz, I don't care. Derrick Henry led that team, by the way, and I
Tannehill
cannot.
played great in those games.
It's a good take.
I would. Well, look at how
Visceral
upset we
reactions.
are. We're literally. I'm sweating just thinking about the idea of having to watch Ryan Tannehill quarterback my team again. I can't take it.
I understand that you have some post-Tannehill stress disorder, PTSD, but I would say to you that if I offered the general audience, hey, who do you want as the backup quarterback next year? You're 9-4, and you're going to have your quarterback miss 3 games. You want Mike White or you want Ryan Tannehill? A whole lot of people are going to go with the bigger name there.
Tannehill,
A
yes.
whole lot of folks are going to want the established product that has been a starter for a long time in the league and now is relegated to backup.
I have always thought Mike White to be an upper echelon backup. No.
Agreed, but never a starter. Like not someone you think of as a starter, whereas Tannehill has spent a decade as a starter.
Ryan Tannehill has thrown for 35,000 yards. He has thrown 216 touchdown passes. He's been to AFC Championship. I take him as my backup.
You can have him.
I would love to have him.
All right, take him.
I mean, I have Tyrod Taylor. I love that. I mean,
I think he'll be better served right now in Minnesota with what they got going on with J.J. McCarthy right now. That's a big loss for them. So I could see Tannehill stepping up for them. Yeah.
Stugotz, we didn't get to this yesterday, and I regret not getting to it. What's going on with Hassan Reddick and the Jets? What are the details there that are interesting to you? Asking for a trade away from Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers saying, hey, don't go. It's going to be a fun ride this season. Like, what's happening there?
so they did the Jets and Eagles traded because Reddick wants an extension. He wants a new deal. He deserves a new deal. He has 4 consecutive seasons of double-digit sacks, and a guy off the edge. He's the guy that hurt Brock Purdy 2 years ago in the NFC Championship game and had like 2.5 sacks in that game, and the Eagles went on to the Super Bowl that they eventually lost. But this is a guy who is 29 years old, who the Jets traded for. They traded a third-round pick. And it could become a conditional second-round pick. But they did so. The Jets traded for him with the idea of, hey, we're going to sign him to a long-term deal. And Reddick said he's not showing up to camp until he gets that long-term deal. And the Jets are saying, no, we're not going to give you a long-term deal. Why'd you trade for him? Like, I am with Reddick on this. Stay put, do not play, get your money. You have one chance to get paid. Over the last 2 years, I believe he's tied for second in the league for most sacks of the NFL. That position is the second or third most important position in the game right now, and he wants to get paid. And the Jets traded him to give him a long-term deal, and the Jets need that guy off the edge, and they haven't done it. And so if I'm Reddick, first off, it's the Jets being the Jets. Who does that? Who does that? Who trades for a guy who wants an extension? They get the guy, they make the trade, and don't give him an extension. And if I'm Reddick, I stay put. I don't show up to camp. It is an embarrassment what the Jets are doing to him.
Right.
They traded for him with the idea of, hey, you're our guy, you're getting a long-term deal. Then he got there, and they said no.
Right, and he's racking up so many fines. Like his fines right now could feed a small village. Because goodness gracious, I think like what you are 100% right. Don't trade for this brother. Knowing his position, knowing his situation, he only coming over here because y'all had a little under the table. Like when I come over here, I'm gonna want it. And now they're gonna back out. I salute him for staying out because you can get hurt. Like you see what's going on right now. You can mess up all your money in these training camp situations. So commend my brother Hassan. Give him this money.
I find fairly interesting, Stugotz, everywhere in the sport where you are noticing that basic human dynamics are going to make an appearance. Oh, Burrow got his money. Now Jamar Chase wants his and isn't showing up. Oh, we're going to make Dak more secure. What's going on with CeeDee Lamb? Like we have seen, the Chiefs have taught us, right? You pay Mahomes, Tyreek's going to leave. Doesn't matter how good the team is, Super Bowl ready. Doesn't matter how fun football is. Like Tyreek Hill told us, we can win 8 or 9 championships in Kansas City. Why can't we? That's how lightheaded he was. And then he's like, get me out of here because I see what the financial constrictions are, and the wide receivers are going to want their money for making the quarterbacks. And, Amin, I know you can speak to the very real pollution, toxin that money is that can corrode any amount of human relationships. I imagine we now know, right? Draymond Green and Jordan Poole, that happened. That was money related.
Well, no, it was because he called him an expensive backpack for Steph Curry, according to Pablo Torre Finds Out, which is an excellent show.
Expensive, though, is the key word there. Like, it's money.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like they say, in every NBA fight, it comes down to one of two things: either money owed or a woman. Right. That's like every NBA fight, like in the locker room. That it always comes down to one of those two things. And I think the reality is, this is the part I think fans don't get. You only have a certain window of time as a professional athlete to make as much money as possible. This is supposed to last me forever. I don't get to retire at 65 as a pro athlete, and it's not realistic to say, oh, but then I'll be a coach after that, and I'll make a lot of money doing that, or I'll be a media guy after that, I'll make a lot of money after that. For most of these guys, this is it. And so, yeah, you treat it with the desperation of someone who says, this is my last shot.
I want to correct myself. He's tied for 4th in the NFL over the last 4 years in sacks. Daniil Hunter, who has 49. I think he's tied with him. He just got a 2-year, $49 million deal. Reddick's going to make $13.5 million this year.
It's like, how can you tell me I'm not?
Right. And he's going to be 30. He wants to get paid. Yeah. He should get paid. The Jets traded for him so he can get paid.
Yeah. Right. And when it comes to Jamar Chase right now, he's on his rookie deal, and he's outplayed that, of course. But he's in a position where I think that the owners could benefit from paying him now because his number is only going to go up like that. If Jerry would have paid that man a couple of years ago, he could have saved himself so much more money. But you're going to keep letting these folks hold out, and they're going to get a bigger payday at the end of the road.
Mm-hmm.
Pablo, were you shaking your head no? You were doing so while Stugotz was talking about Hassan Reddick. Is it because of what he was saying, or is it because of what Chris Cody was whispering to you that you were objecting to? Yeah, fix your camera there. Pablo Torre Finds Out is the name of the podcast. What were you shaking your head no about?
Me, I was just trying to get them to not catch the fact that I am standing in a closet and my shirts are like 2 inches to my right.
Okay.
His closet has a window?
I've got a lot of questions for Pablo Torre today.
Journalism is made, you know.
Plants.
It is strange. Plants? Yeah, it is a strange closet. That does not
fake.
Look...
You hold on. Did Jess just accuse me of having fake plants?
No, I asked earnestly. Are they real? Are they pothos sleeves?
Pants.
They look nice.
They are very real pothos. Thank you for acknowledging. Nice. It's fake plants are the worst. They're the worst thing on the planet to me.
Really?
They are. Yes. They are by definition.
The worst thing? I mean.
Yes. Plants in reality are living things. They give you psychological benefits. They recycle and regenerate oxygen. Fake plants are just decorative lies.
How do you feel
fraudulent.
about mannequins?
The devil's work. The devil's work.
Yeah.
Second worst thing in the world because Pablo believes in human life, and if you fake any kind of life, you're going to outrage Pablo.
Mannequin or
That's
mannequin
right.
too?
Pablo, I wanted to include you on a couple of the conversations that we were having here. One of them, Charles Barkley comes on here yesterday, tells us that he could have gotten a minimum of $100 million more from someone else, but wanted to go back to what felt like family. And a whole bunch of people called him a liar and said bullshit. I asked everybody here why that was happening. Stugotz's theory is people are angry and broke and they don't want to hear about how much money someone is making. Jessica had a different theory. Your theory is what here?
My theory is that Charles Barkley has the ability to generate a market just by willing it into existence. And some of that does sound like a thing you should not trust, the power of a guy to do that. But I think for him, it's real. I think his talent is one of the scarcest resources in sports. And I also think that when it comes to Charles proving that there are markets for him, remember, I mean, look, I love Charles. I know, Dan, he's a friend of yours for decades now. Remember when he had that thing where he was like, I think I'm going to the Live Tour now. I was like, oh, he can just sort of like reach across the world and grab money places. And so it just so happens that with this NBA rights deal, which we've covered super extensively on the Sporting Class, obviously, I think there's a lot of buyers who want to give Charles Barkley $100 million. I don't think he's lying there. I think that's actually just the reality of his life.
On Pablo Torre Finds Out, I've told you before that he finds an assortment of stories and attacks them vigorously with journalism and his curiosities. I couldn't help but laugh at your most recent episode, even though I don't believe it was comedy. The Paralympics are corrupt. There are cheaters throughout the
Not a laughing matter.
It's hilarious. It was hilarious. I laughed so hard listening to that episode.
Tell us the extent of the cheating in the Paralympics, because it's unbelievable to imagine people playing wheelchair basketball and then at the end just getting up out of their wheelchairs and then walking on.
It is darkly hilarious. It is darkly hilarious, admittedly. And infuriating to so many Paralympians, because it is a massive, massive problem that is currently being litigated in German court right now because of an American Paralympian hopeful who's like, I am a hand cyclist, and to Dan's description, he competes against people who, when the race is over, get up and walk around, who end up having to, he sees social media posts of people who are like, wait a minute, you're just living your life not doing the stuff that I have to do. This is David Burling, American Paralympian, who is an above-the-knee double amputee, an Air Force vet who got in a plane crash. And he's like, I see you guys lying all of the time. And this is something that's beyond just one man. We talk to a classifier, the person who has to figure out which division you go into. But the way I got into this, because I'm numb to so many things at this point. We've done mortgage fraud investigations, fencing, manipulation in the Olympics, match fixing, statistical inflation with Tom Haberstroh, all this stuff. But when I heard that there was a story about a Spanish gold medal Paralympic basketball team where 10 of the 12 people had tanked an IQ test, had faked intellectual disabilities to get into the tournament, and they started blowing things out by 30. And then later were revealed to be totally fraudulent. I was like, that's a Johnny Knoxville movie. That is actually a thing that screenplays have been written about, except it's just more ridiculous in reality. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, as you might imagine.
Well, tell us more, though, on what is most outrageous to the Paralympians, because you're right to say that it's dark comedy and isn't going to be funny at all. Like, these are hugely inspiring stories of overcoming. You watch the Paralympics, Stugotz, and honest to God, almost every story that's not a cheater, you feel like you're not as strong as these people who are able to overcome and still do things that you might not have the will to train yourself to do in a pitiful, despondent state.
The balls you must have to get up off your bicycle and walk away in front of a guy who can't stand up. I mean, the balls, man.
I'm not laughing.
I think I am here to give you the blessing of the ability to laugh at the sheer absurdity of this, while also being like, oh, this is massively up. Both of these things are true in this story. It's why I wanted to do this story. And to the question that Dan had, the difficulty here is that the classifier, the job of a person at the Paralympics who has to fact check these medical disabilities, these impairments, these claims that I cannot do X or Y or Z. That job, I mean, what we investigated here, we talked to a classifier who's now retired. He used to be the chief classifier of 2 Paralympic Games. She said that she has seen people not just like lie on an eye test, but like take Valium before one of these auditions, basically, where you got to prove I am actually what I claim to be. She has heard stories of people like rolling around in the snow to make it seem like they are even more impaired than they are. They have people, I mean, it's the anti-NFL combine is the comedy of this. You go in and you're trying to prove that I am even worse than you think so they can tank the result and get into a more favorable class, because the Paralympics is about how do we match people up when the entire premise of this is disadvantage. And of course, there are lots of, I'll say it, there are lots of Stugotzes in there who are like, you know what, I see an angle for me.
Thank you.
I see an angle for how I can win gold even more easily than I have any right to.
Pablo, I guess my question is, the difference between the NFL combine and this anti-combine is that in the combine, we're trying to see how fast someone can go. So you're trying to achieve that. How do you test for the non-negative, right? Like, how do you check for something that's not there?
Yeah, how do you prove a negative?
Yeah.
They have a couple of things. They ask for a doctor's note. And as anybody who has, I don't know, gotten a medical marijuana prescription in California over the last 15 years knows, not all doctors are the most rigorous fact checkers when it comes to, I have back pain. So there's just that as the first layer of defense. And then there is actually this audition. It's an audition is what I call it, but you go and perform the sport in front of a volunteer. Because again, it's the Paralympics, guys. And so the classifiers here are not like highly paid experts. They are people who want to help this incredibly inspiring, impressive event function. And so you have these people who are watching someone tell them, I can't do this. Look at me play basketball. Look at me swim. Look at me hand cycle. And they watch them, it turns out, many times perform the theater of being even worse than they are. And so that is the classification process of the Paralympics, to me, is where all of the lawsuit strikes to the heart of that. It's gotten so bad where there are protests by other athletes. There's a hand cycle race that we report on where all but one person, the person that they alleged to be a cheater, they stopped racing mid-race, and that person just kept on going to signal we are not on the same page as this. We need something to be done, and no one will do anything. And so the guy we interviewed, the protagonist of the story, he said, I'm going to sue the International Paralympic Committee, the version of the IOC, the IPC, in court, because he sees this as something that has ruined the integrity of this entire enterprise.
I can't believe some of what it is that you're reporting, because it does seem like something a comedy scriptwriter would write.
Yeah, it's South Park.
It's a bit crazy. The outrage that I would have if I'd lost both my legs in war and then been an athlete better than all other wheelchair athletes reminds me some of what is happening around the gender women's boxing conversation, because one is a fake argument that is politicized and is just awful to watch happen, and the other one's not going to get any attention as an actual outrage. You're going to bring attention to it, but it's not going to go anywhere, even though if I were to speak to anybody and say, do you think it's fair that somebody is playing without legs and somebody else is faking to get into a wheelchair and then walking around and to win a gold medal? Like, that is worthy of legitimate outrage.
Yes, and there's a key distinction. And by the way, all of this speaks to what do we do when we're trying to regulate who's allowed to compete in a lower class of sport when it comes to performance. That's the through line through the Algerian boxer story and the Paralympics, with the key distinction, because I've reported now on trans controversies and now the Paralympics controversy, which would be an even bigger controversy. The difference here is that the stuff that people think trans athletes have been doing in America, the schemes of cheating and manipulation and lying and medical fraud, that's actually happening in the Paralympics. And it's not happening over there. And you know that because the Algerian boxer story. It's funny when like I see Logan Paul, and there's this lawsuit now, of course, against Twitter and Elon and J.K. Rowling and all of them. But when Logan Paul, I believe, is saying this is the purest form of evil, watching this Algerian boxer punch a woman in the face, and then not long after says, well, I may have been trafficking misinformation there. I'm going to delete that tweet. It's sort of like, okay, like they don't actually know what's happening here. And that's not even a trans athlete controversy. That is a controversy that speaks to its own form of medical complexity that says actually maybe the whole binary between men and women on the level of sex and therefore performance is actually a lot more complicated than anybody wants to admit. What it's not is the level of cheating and fraud as a scheme, because no one has reported that. No one has provided evidence that there's anything like that happening there that's happening in the Paralympics.
Absolutely, brother. Transition, though. Keeping up with controversies. My sister Raygun is getting accused of a lot of things across the nation, and I have it figured out. Pablo, I got you on the line. I found out. Raygun is in the CIA. And guess what? Think of Steve Martin in Pink Panther.
Mm-hmm.
She was sent to the Olympics to retrieve the diamonds, the stolen diamonds. But guess what? The stolen diamonds, they're in this one room, and the only way to access that air-conditioned chute is the breaking contestants. And so they told her, they say, hey, we got a case for you, Ray. You're going to have to go get the diamonds. But bad news, you're going to actually have to compete. And she was like, all right, I got it. And so we're distracted by her dance moves, but we didn't even realize Australia got the damn diamonds back in the home city. What you think, Pablo?
You know, it reminds me of another theory that I have that I've been waiting to sort of like test on you guys, Juju especially. What if the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft was given to a team that had to win a game to obtain it? What about that theory?
That's a good idea.
Love
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the 2 last place teams play each other for the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a pretty good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Bigger ratings than the Super Bowl, I'm telling you. Yeah.
Pablo Torre Finds Out is the name of the podcast. You should find it wherever it is you get your podcast. Did I miss something, or did Tom Brady quietly debut as a broadcaster this weekend and no one had any kind of reaction to it on a preseason game?
No way. Really?
I saw him on the
No.
sidelines,
No.
and I saw some people talking about him. That's why I'm asking the question, did I miss it or not? Because I thought that Tom Brady, some people were talking about how great Sean McVay was. They mic'd him up for a little while, and he just did a little bit of play-by-play, and it was more informational than anything you've ever heard in play-by-play because they were talking to an active coach, and Tom Brady needs to get some reps in before he starts.
Fox is saying they're waiting for the regular season for Tom Brady to start. So
Okay, so it didn't happen.
It was a post of when he was in the broadcast booth last year, and they posted it now, which then confused everyone on Twitter into thinking they missed a preseason game in which he was the broadcaster.
Okay, I also saw him walking on a field with Mike Silver chasing after him crazily because Mike.
It's that video.
Yeah.
That could have been any time.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Mike
right.
Silver's a crazy
he
person.
spent his entire life chasing him.
That's
I mean.
exactly what Mike Silver has been doing. That is absolutely correct. Your experience with USA basketball was what? Because I thought that team had put the standard so high that there wasn't going to be a way for them to meet where it is that we expected them to be. And they somehow did it by playing close games.
No, I am embarrassed to admit how much I loved these games and how much I felt like one of those like sunglasses in driver's seat of their car, selfie camera, patriot avatars crawl out of my body as I was thinking to myself, now we get to watch these NBA players, these superstars play defense. Now we get to see them at their full potential. Because when you have a near-death experience like that, when your greatness is challenged like that, you get to see the best of these guys. And I believe that we saw the best of this version of LeBron and KD and Steph and all of these guys in a way that we just haven't really seen as often as the NBA would like us to think we've seen it. And so I was like, this is the basketball that I want more of. And I understand that this also is by definition an indictment of the basketball that we're otherwise watching, but I loved it that much.
Pablo, can you find out why HBO Max was late to posting Hard Knocks last night? Because I
Dude.
didn't get to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, look, first of all, it's called Max. Second of all, I was upset because I was ready. I was so ready to come in and argue with Smetty about Caleb Williams and stuff like that. And because, as we know, she's a big Bears fan.
We think.
And nothing. And what does it say about us as a society, Pablo, where we are so beholden to streaming platforms that when something isn't uploaded, we all lose our minds?
Is this where we all make fun of our own video team, or is that going to happen during the break?
Tua at some point in the next 3 months. See you later, Pablo.
Bye-bye.
I read a story that produced more questions for me than answers, but I was interested in the story, and I suspect that you guys will be interested and have some of the same questions that I had.
So this is a story that didn't answer any of the questions.
It got me interested enough with the details to have 1,000 more questions about what it is that I was reading. An Illinois school district teacher who's 68 years old got 9 years in prison because of what it is that she did between July of 2020 and February of 2022. Okay, so in less than 2 years, she stole 1.5 million chicken wings.
Nope. Not possible.
Well, it's not possible to consume them in less than 2 years.
I think it means saying not possible to steal them.
How do you 1.5 million chicken wings? That means you're walking out with like a Santa Claus satchel of chicken wings every week.
It was over time. It was, and it started with the pandemic and some of the fraud that started with the pandemic.
Can we just state the obvious that 9 years in prison for that is just absolutely insane?
Right, bro. Free mom right now until it's backwards.
She stole 11,000 cases of chicken wings, and now the questions begin. She had to be reselling them to local restaurants or something, right? You can't
secondary market.
It can't be the only thing you and your friends are eating. That doesn't seem possible in less than 2 years for a family to eat 1.5 million chicken wings.
Okay, so question: is there a fine for Dan for reading the internet wrong, or
Yes.
is it just Stugotz?
$17.
Okay, then it's $17 for you, Dan. No, because it's $1.5 million worth of chicken wings, not 1.5 million count of chicken wings.
Okay, wait a minute. So if it's $1.5 million per of chicken wings, it means it's more than 1.5 million chicken wings. She stole a ton more than 1.5 million, right?
I don't think so, because it usually get a 20-piece be like $30 from the store, and she must be the Avon Barksdale of chicken wings because she is moving them guys.
Okay, so I'm sorry for reading that wrong. It's $1.5 million worth of chicken wings, but that still seems like too hard
I feel like
to eat
Blago
in 2
did
years.
less than that for selling a Senate seat. Like, what, 9 years? Jesus. Allegedly. No, he was convicted.
How many more questions do you guys have about this story? How do you get rid of $1.5 million worth of chicken wings?
How long did Henry Ruggs get?
Is it even 9 years?
Exactly.
Not
Come
9
on.
years.
What
yeah.
are we doing?
Now, she's 68, by the way, so 9 years, that might be.
This is like an average of $2,500 of chicken wings per day off the basic math. How is that possible? Per day, stealing that many? I don't even understand what the execution would have been here.
So in total, Liddell ordered more than 11,000 cases of wings from the school district's food provider, then picked up the order herself in a district cargo van. Legal papers filed as part of the case called the scheme a, quote, massive fraud. We turn now to our fraud correspondent, Stugotz.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, wow. He realized he was doing what there before
You almost
he
called
turned-
Juju our fraud correspondent. I mean,
I was looking at Juju. And
very
I was,
dangerous, man.
my bad, Juju. Stugotz, what would you do with 11,000 cases of chicken wings that you've stolen over the span of about 18 months.
I mean, the reason you steal something is to make money. So I would assume that she is selling them. She had another player involved here where she is buying these. Well, she's stealing the boxes and then selling them out to someone else for a lot more money. That would be the reason. Otherwise, why would you do it? And also, you guys questioning whether or not she should get 9 years in prison. That's $1.5 million right there. I mean, I know it's not actual money, but
Exactly.
it's worth $1.5 million. Well, I mean, she stole $1.5 million.
If she's
9 years.
She stole.
mean-
if she stole $1.5 million worth of chicken wings, and you said she did it to make money, how much money did she make off of $1.5 million worth of chicken wings, ladies and gentlemen? 11,000 cases of chicken wings for $1.5 million. That means it's $733 per case. So $733 per case. Let's assume a very modest profit of $100. $100 per case is modest profit, right? So $833 times 11,000, guys. She made. Oh my God, are you guys ready for this? $9.1 million.
Nah, bro, not with that.
Dog, why would she still be working for the school? Because she would have retired.
You have to
That's where
stay
the
with the
chicken
school.
wings are.
No, you have to stay with the school.
You got to?
Yeah, it's a giveaway. If you leave.
This is the best chicken crime I've seen since Gus Fring.
I'm so confused about the logistics, but were they raw or were they cooked? Like, I don't know.
I'm assuming that they're
were in a
they're
box.
raw. I think they're raw. I don't think they're going to be cooked.
Wait a second, but it is Chicago public schools, so I don't know if they're like cooking wings at the school, or maybe was that even an option? Do they have wings at public school?
I don't know. I never had wings at school, but I have been eating a lot of wings lately. I rediscovered in the last 6 months or so, wings are the best.
Oh my
Amazing.
God.
They are
So
a
good.
top.
Yeah, they're good.
I feel like I fall in and out of love with wings every couple years. I eat too many and then I'm off wings, and then I have them for the first time and I'm like, holy wings are great. And then I eat too many again and then I'm off again.
The only thing that gets me off wings is when I have bad wings. Then I get gun shy. I'm like, I don't know. Should I order wings from this place? What if they mess it up? I don't know. But then you find that good wing place or that good wing order that comes out. The sauce is perfect. It's nice and crispy, the juicy on the inside. And you're like, I can't get enough.
Your mouth is watering.
I
right
can't
now.
get
Magic
enough.
City.
I'm picking barbecue sauce out of my cuticles for 2 weeks after.
And you don't feel like you're eating terrible. You're like, this is meat.
It's chicken.
Oh, if it was fried, who cares? We're going to forget that part.
But a lot of times it's not fried.
Sometimes they're smoked wings.
Grilled wings, lemon pepper.
Did you have chicken wings the night that you ate in that big group that infuriated you?
No, I chicken wings for me, that's a bar food. I want to eat that at a Flanagan's or at a Kuda's. But I have realized recently that every time I go out to dinner in a group at a restaurant and the waiter brings the food and people just kind of freeze because they don't remember what they ordered, and the waiter's like, who got the filet or whatever. That pisses me off so much. Remember your
Yes.
order.
It's so good.
Pay
Why are you not
attention.
paying attention?
Pay attention.
And then there's always one person that's got it all covered. They ordered that. Yep.
That's me.
That's me. I'm the pointer.
Yes.
I'm like, the chicken pasta. Yeah, that's that person. It's like,
So you're paying more
Why are
attention.
all these people
Right.
not paying attention?
Everyone
Food
just
is here.
freezes. Like the waiter comes and everyone freezes. They're like, oh, I don't know what's for me. I don't want to be too pushy and be like, oh, that one's mine. I'm the pushy one. I'm like, you got the salmon, you got the steak. This is the risotto. Pay attention, people.
It's not that they don't pay attention, Jessica. You just hit on it. It's people don't want to seem to be like the eager, hungry person. This mine. Blah, 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 blah. They don't want to seem like that, so they're like, I don't know. Did someone else have? Oh, I guess
They're
That
just
hap-
standing there holding 17 plates. Like, come on.
That happened to me in Tampa when I was with Mike and his friends watching Panthers Lightning. We were at a restaurant. We ordered a bunch of wings. I ordered mine well done, but apparently and the wings came out, and I was like, oh, medium garlic. Those are mine. And apparently those were Cowboy Carl's. Mine hadn't come out yet.
Boy.
They came out 5 minutes later, and they were like, here's the well done medium garlic. And I was like 4 wings in, just like, and then Cowboy Carl now has to eat well done wings.
He's got to eat 4 well done rings.
No,
Because you got to just switch the plates back.
I gave him the whole. No, he just kept the
Wait,
whole order.
well done wings?
You don't do that?
Oh, I
is
love
that?
well
Like,
done.
like-
Yeah. Chicken
Extra
wings well
cooked,
done.
Yeah.
Oh, I've
I like
never heard
I
of
like
that.
my medium rare, little salmonella on there.
I'm a wings newbie. I don't.
What?
Teach me more of
Well,
the
it
way
depends
of
on the
wings.
place. If a place has bigger wings, I like them well done. Because I don't like when you
I
bite
don't like
into
the
the
big
wing and you
wings.
see like
Yeah.
the pinkish.
That's how
like-
you know it's.
Like the tendons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I like mine crispy. I like my wings crispy.
No.
Well, when Amin said bad wings, I was about to say there is no such thing, but I would have been wrong because when you have some of that extra that you don't need in the wings, some inefficiency of
knuckle?
this is not all chewable.
You guys eat the knuckles?
Chewable
Yeah.
meat. I have eaten, but undercooked wings. What I would rather err on overcooked than what Amin is saying. I have not heard a lot of people say that their favorite kind of wing is with a little bit of salmonella, like a little bit of raw chicken wrist.
It's an odd thing to want.
That's how they serve them at the Sizzler.
I don't like when it's tough because it's been cooked so much that I'm fighting. Shout out to John Tapper. Look how hard he's pulling just to get some wings out. Like, you don't want that hard pull. You want that to kind of flesh fall off the bone.
Fall off the bone.
Yeah, that's
You
where
don't
we're
really
at.
get that with fried wings, though, do you?
No.
Like, that's a baked wing you're talking about, fall off the bone, right? Once you fry it, you've hardened it some.
Well, depends.
Do you guys eat the knuckles though? I mean, we're split pack here. Jess eats the knuckles.
I'm
I'm
not
a knuckle
leaving
eater.
meat on the bone,
Only-
period.
Only in a sandwich.
What's your favorite flavor of wings, guys, around the
Honey
horn?
barbecue.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like mine hot with lemon pepper
Lemon
sprinkles.
pepper.
Yum.
Lemon pepper
I like a
is good.
spicy buffalo.
Medium garlic kind of guy.
Can't believe we skipped past only in a sandwich. That was so good.
You eat the knuckles only in a sandwich.
Knuckle
sandwich.
Hey,
I thought
What
for
does she do?
I was like, oh, you put those in a sandwich. I didn't. That was just went way over my head.
clearly a cover-up, though, from the government and mom and these wings. So something is afoot. This is the story before the story. I don't believe this story yet. Let me see the next one.
I thought you were actually referring to Raygun.
Me too. Raygun stole the wings, allegedly. I mean, $1.5 million in the grand scheme of things, Stugotz. Like, corporations steal quadruple, 1,000 times that in a year. They never go to jail. But this woman, $1.5 million in chicken, and we're putting her in jail for a decade when she's 70 years old. That's absurd.
She works for a school. I
She
mean,
shouldn't have done it. I
how about the
agree.
kids?
Don't steal.
I mean,
Don't commit fraud. But 9 years, come on.
Guys,
kids need their wings. I mean,
guys, I decided $100 a profit per
Yeah.
case was too much. I dropped it down to $50 a case per
And?
profit. $8.6 million.
Do we know if she resold the wings? I was not able to find that.
why would you steal them?
She could have healed the
She
hood.
could have been eating them or making them for people.
That changes the story completely. 'cause
If I'm her lawyer, I'm like, my sister was feeding the entire west side of Chicago out of her trunk.
She
That
gave
is
them all
a
away.
great defense.
Gave them
man.
all away.
Jess, you're seeing why it is that I had more questions than answers with this story.
I'm not gonna lie, like it was you surprised us with this one. I did not hear this story.
Well, you surprised me with this one because you've got Stugotz in a position where he's the one being tough on crime.
Prosecutor.
He's the one. He's the one shaking.
I would steal the wings.
shaking a fist and wanting to be maximum prosecutor guy. Throwing this one, bury her under the jail.
Just to close the loop, I don't mind being the eager person at the table, helping the server make sure that they distribute the food and the entrees to the right places. I think it's worse to be the timid person who's just standing there like frozen while they're carrying 1,000 plates and doesn't know what, like, oh, what did I order again? I don't know.
How about the server do their jobs? They should know.
I'm helping them do their
But
job.
why are we trying to figure it out?
Well, not every restaurant
I can't stand
has-
the server who says, listen, I got your order, don't worry about it, I've committed it to memory, and then comes back and asks everyone what they ordered. I no. Like, do your job, write it down.
Guys, I did the math wrong.
I'm there to eat.
You know what? I figured that this was all happening
Jesus.
as it was happening.
11,000 times whatever, man.
No, but no. Look, I let it go 3 or 4 times.
How was it? Thank you.
Major penalty, 5 minutes, swooning comedy.
Let me explain. You're going to do it? Okay, great. Stugotz to the rescue. Glad we've got a mathematician on the case. The idea that Amin opened the bidding with, you know what I think is a good idea? To stop everyone so they can listen to me count in my head as I do math. That would be his starting point, and that he would do it incorrectly. We will find out how erroneous all his math is in a second when Stugotz gets to the bottom of the facts here. But something that I don't think was covered very much during the Olympics, but I saw it everywhere, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on this because it can be argued that Jimmy Fallon has ruined The Tonight Show's legacy. And a whole lot of people were angry at how much Jimmy Fallon was being thrown down their throats during the Olympics because Peacock was presenting, and they've got a vested interest in getting third place back into first or second place. I do not find Jimmy Fallon in any way objectionable. I find him benign. I find him, talented enough. He can't quite keep up with what some of the other folks have done during the history of late night.
And this is more of a young viewership thing, but his sort of jovial, this kind of fake laugh feels like a laugh track in a way that some of these other hosts don't have one. And I think that kind of bothers the TV viewer who doesn't really like shows with laugh tracks anymore. It just feels jovial in that way, but he's still one of the 5 people in America who can do that job at that level. I sometimes think we're maybe a little too harsh on the content part. There's obviously been other sides of Jimmy Fallon and the behind-the-scenes stuff that have evolved, but in terms of being able to do the job, like, he's still doing it at a very high level.
But he's not one of 5 people who can do it. There are plenty of people who can do it.
But he is doing it, is more the point.
You guys are talking about, like, the political climate is changing, what we demand of our hosts to be more polarizing, whatever. But I'm like, is Conan O'Brien like that? Is Jimmy Kimmel like that? Like, was Corden like that? I don't feel like any of those guys.
No, Kimmel does, though. Kimmel does it now.
He dips his toes, but I don't feel like he's. I think he's just he's the same. What you're talking about, cuddly and makes Middle America feel warm and fuzzy. I think Kimmel does that.
Part of why Corden struggled, though, toward the end is because he was not doing some of those things. People felt the same way about Corden as they do about Fallon, and Kimmel has at least gone that direction, going after Trump and things like that.
I do think the politics have coarsened so much that the Tonight Show I'm talking about of Johnny Carson, you might make a politics joke, but it's the most harmless of presidential jokes that doesn't even mean anything. It's just a silly thing. Can't we laugh about this? It's a different time in America. Now, Jimmy Kimmel does get involved aggressively. Colbert obviously does a lot of that. The thing that I wanted to ask you guys, though, because Norm Macdonald brought this up one time. Norm Macdonald, I've told you before, I really admire what it is that he did. And one of the things that he said about Bill Maher and others, Chappelle, do you want to be a funny guy or do you want to be a smart guy? Like, which is it that you're trying to be? Norm Macdonald wanted them separated, and Joe Rogan's not doing comedy most successfully at the highest levels, even though he does do some stand-up. That's not what he is successful for. He took a different path that has a different lane. Bill Maher, John Oliver, Jon Stewart, they can all do stand-up comedy. But Norm Macdonald is asking you, which one is it that you want to be? That job, The Tonight Show, I think requires both, Amin. And while I would say...
It does now. It does now.
And I think that Jimmy Fallon is fun to watch, but it's cotton candy.
Can we also point out that he's probably the least funny? If it is just being funny and not necessarily smart.
He's not funny.
Subjective, yes, but I don't think he's as funny as the guys were putting him up against. Like what you said about Jay Leno is true. People were frustrated because they knew, Jay, you're a funny dude. Why are you dumbing yourself down like this? I don't think Jimmy Fallon's dumbing himself down. I think this is just who he is. This is who he's always been. Like since he was on SNL. Again, subjective, like Juju said, I just don't think he's that funny of a guy. Now, they've had some fun kind of conceits that they've done on that show. Like when they, do the karaoke. Or
I wear my tight pants. He does like videos like that. Yeah.
But it's just like I think part of it is I don't think he's talented enough to raise the stakes even on the comedy side, in order to avoid the political side. Like,
have you never seen Fever Pitch, the movie with Drew Barrymore? Come on, bro.
I love that movie.
I haven't. Should I watch it?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
But just in terms of talent, I mean, he can do impressions, he can sing. Like Jimmy Fallon is undoubtedly talented.
That's all he does, though. Right.
That's the point. All he does is impressions and sings. And like that's pretty impressive.
He sings well for, I guess, a comedian. He's not Jamie Foxx. right? Jamie Foxx sings
Agreed.
and is a comedian.
Agreed.
Is funnier
He's no
and sings.
Taylor. I mean, come on.
Yes, exactly. He's no Taylor. But like the impressions, how many?
That's a good Seinfeld.
What are
you talking about?
Do you guys watch late night? Like, they've become less and less of a thing as cable has become less and less of a thing, and now everyone streams the content that they like. And I think it probably coincides with him being hired. Not him specifically, but it happened around the same time. And also, he's got a bad reputation from everything I've read about him.
The bad reputation stuff is recent as far as it's coming out, being public. So I don't want to go there because I think his demise has been happening for a while. But again, I go back to people are consuming by clips, right?
Most people probably are like, yeah, he's fine.
Right. Yeah.
That's all he has to be.
That's how I think of him. He's cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you one thing. He was celebrating for that gold medal game. People were like, yo, did you play? Get off my screen.
Stop hating.
No, I'm
Carmelo was doing the same thing. Carmelo and his son, Steph Marbury.
You know why? You know why they get to do that?
Why?
Because they are involved. They know these people. This dude coming in here, he just ran out there like, oh, I'm cool too. No, you not, man. We know these people. You don't know them.
He knows them. They done been all on his show, and he done interviewed one by one and had dinner with the fam.
Man, we done interviewed who here? Do you think they know us?
Yes.
He was taking selfies with Emmanuel Macron. I mean, how many American celebrities are doing that?
11,000 cases of wings, $1.5 million. Okay, that is $136.36 per box. Okay, per case. If you upped it, okay, just $63. Okay.
Oh,
just $63. Well, no, it's $700,000. Yeah, I did all the math. I did. Yep.
I hear the drums echoing tonight, which she hears only whispers of some quiet conversation.
Remix.
She's coming in 12:30 flight.
Yeah, he's terrible.
The moonlit
Great job, video team, this segment, by the way.
That guide me towards salvation.
Our friend Ron Magill has returned here on a Wednesday. I don't know. I'm disoriented. Why were you not here on a Tuesday? What happened? Were you busy filming some sort of giraffe surgery or some sort of emergency? What happened? Why weren't you here yesterday?
You had people much more important than me that could only do yesterday, so I'm the movable nut, so to speak.
Really?
Oh, my God.
Wow.
So we bumped you. It wasn't your
Thank
fault, and I came out here accusatory just because Charles Barkley knocked you off the guest list.
There you go.
That is not right to Ron Magill. There is no one in the history of this program, I would argue, that is more important as a guest than Ron Magill.
I don't know
Nobody.
what happened there. That's not a
You guys,
decision
you're very
I made.
kind in saying that, but that's not true at all. Charles Barkley trumps Ron Magill on any platform, any day, anywhere.
Except that was Monday, so I don't know. Ron, I
Well
saw
said,
that you were in Eater Miami giving your best food,
Yes.
best food places in Miami.
I'm getting slammed for a couple of those, but hey, listen, I love them.
Okay, so you had best takeout option, hole in the wall, best burger, Fuddruckers, but then I came across best pizza, and you said Costco. Is
That's the one
Costco
that-
pizza a thing? I've only ever heard of the Costco
Oh
hot
my
dog
God,
and the
Jess.
rotisserie chicken.
Jessa, you haven't tried the Costco pizza? It's
Never.
the bomb. It's one of the biggest pizzas. First of all, it's huge, okay? It's just over $10 for this huge pizza that is twice as big as what you get at any of these pizza shops and half the price. And it's fantastic. It's I guess it's one of the greatest secrets ever, unless you've had it.
Is there like a local pizza option that I mean, this is Eater Miami. Like the best we can do in Miami is Costco.
Well, I like Mamma Mia's pizza. Mamma Mia makes a good pizza.
right.
You know, it's a local option, but you know, again, for the price, listen, I work at a zoo, you know, I don't, I try to be as frugal as I can. So the Costco pizza at $10.75, brother, that's the bomb in a bag of chips. That pizza can last me 5 days.
All right, I'm sold. Are you a chicken wing guy at all?
I am a chicken wing guy.
What's your favorite kind of wing?
I like baked wings. I don't like really spicy wings. I like a good sauce with them. You know, even a good ranch dressing. I'm kind of simple that way, but I like it to be baked and crispy. And Hole in the Wall does a good job with those too.
I was gonna ask what your favorite wing was in Miami, but I guess you just gave us the answer.
Hold on, you know, and Cake South. Cake South also does a really good job with wings.
This interview with Ron is presented by LinkedIn Jobs.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Is Costco pizza the bomb if you're on a budget? and also put on the poll chicken wings. I want the chicken wings, the most delightful of appetizers. Yes or no? Can you tell me, Ron, if you think Stugotz earlier this week said that they're not even close, a burger and a sloppy Joe. And I really can't think of anything closer to a burger except maybe a slider than a sloppy Joe. Yeah. So do you believe that a burger and a sloppy Joe belong in the same breath?
No, I don't. I have to agree with Stugotz on that
you.
one. Sloppy Joe is just a bunch of pull, saucy, messy meat. A burger, you bite into, you get the juicy. It's not just a bunch of sloppy sauce with a bunch of ripped off meat from something else. It's totally different. The only thing common is they have 2 pieces of bread.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's a hamburger bun.
It's a hamburger bun, but how many things can you put on a hamburger bun?
Right.
You can put a turkey sandwich on a hamburger bun. You can put an egg salad sandwich on a hamburger bun. You can put anything on a hamburger bun. It doesn't give me any credibility.
But it's meat in between hamburger buns.
Yeah, but it's ground meat.
So is turkey, so is chicken, so is everything else meat between hamburger buns.
Mm-hmm.
Sloppy Joe is ground beef, is it not?
It's beef, yes.
Yeah, but it's ground beef, yeah.
So
is a
burger. So is a hamburger.
No, it's just a patty.
But it's
made
just
got his ass.
We'll have to continue this debate. I will have to agree to disagree.
What?
I have an actual animal question for Ron, other than these weird food questions you guys are coming with. Ron, my cousin told me that dolphins will often use pufferfish to get high, and they'll pass it along. And he also told me making dolphins the only other animal besides humans that get high recreationally. Is this true?
I have heard that same comment about using pufferfish to basically ingest an enlightening drug, so to speak. I will say that they're not the only animals that get high. I know certain primates that will chew on certain leaves, eat certain horticultural products that will elevate their happiness, so to speak. So, it depends on the meaning of getting high. Are they rolling up a doobie and smoking it? No. But they are getting the elements in other ways.
They're grabbing a pufferfish and sucking on it, apparently.
There you go.
Are dolphins the only animal that tries to have sex with humans?
No. Haven't you ever had a dog hump your leg?
Yep.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
I feel like a real fool.
Yeah.
Wait,
I feel like a real idiot. For
That and
asking
sloppy
that
Joes.
question.
I mean.
Okay, follow up though. When your dog's humping your leg, are they trying to have sex with you, or are they trying to get you to play with them? Because I have always been told that it's like, because my female dog will hump my leg, and I don't think she's trying to have sex with me.
What's the difference?
That's a dominance thing, but it also can be pleasurable for the animal. It's almost a form of masturbation, so to speak.
You never wanted to look at Willow that way.
Got her ass.
Willow.
Let's look at this video together here with Ron Magill. Walk us through these tactics to fend off a bear, because we've got in Tahoe, we've got a bear and a beach cooler. You tell me what's happening here, Ron, and how it is that we avoid situations like this.
Well, you got to make sure your beach cooler is closed, first of all, and that's not a way to do it. Get away a bear.
Somebody. Well, it worked. Somebody threw a chair.
This is not smart, though. Okay, that bear can turn around and do something. Let the bear do his thing and get away. Do not try to do something like that, because if that bear comes at him, that rake is going to do nothing to save him. Okay, that rake is going to do nothing to save him. So don't be stupid. If the bear is at the food, let him have the food and wait till he goes away.
What an idiot this guy is.
This guy is an idiot. He's really playing with fire. He's an idiot.
Oh, it worked, it seems like. I mean,
You know what? It worked that time, but maybe not another time. And you want to take that chance? That's stupid, Stugotz. That's just stupidity. Let him have the freaking whatever you got in the damn cooler, and don't make the same mistake twice. Make sure your coolers and everything are locked and closed.
Like, what's he saving there? Like, I have three more Miller Lite. I have three more Miller Lights in there.
What's he saving
Worth
there?
saving,
Exactly.
Chris.
Some wings.
Ron, has working with animals given you more faith in nature and less faith in humanity?
Absolutely. I learn something from animals almost every day that I wish other humans could learn.
I want to show you another video here. It's a woman surrounded by orcas. It's a boat in New Zealand. She seems pretty anxious. Let's see what. How is someone supposed to remain calm in this situation? My wife wants to do whale watching things. I don't like to be at a different place on the food chain than I presently am. And when I'm in the ocean, I am not at the top of the food chain anymore. So I ask you, this video that we're showing you, can you tell me how one remains or is supposed to remain calm in this situation?
You know, that's a fine line between pure excitement and pure fear. I'm going to be honest with you. You know, I think I told you the story that I was in the Galapagos Islands once, and while swimming, snorkeling, photographing sea turtles, I had an orca swim right over me, stop for a moment, look at me, and keep on swimming. It was one of those moments that was so exhilarating, and yet, I'm not going to lie to you, that my heart started racing. But you know that saying that I love to say is that life isn't measured by the number of times, the number of breaths that you take. It's measured by the number of times your breath is taken away.
Oh.
This woman, or whoever this was in this board, will never forget this moment. And it also reflects and is indicative that these animals are not malicious monsters. Okay, it's a pretty great moment. You know, it could have gone south. I'm not going to lie to you. You never know. What? But that was an incredible moment. And maybe those orcas knew she had a camera and say, you know what? Maybe she can show the world that we're not these monsters that many times we're painted to be.
I mean, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth now. The bear was like, that thing could kill you. And these orcas, it's like, see?
Okay, no, wait.
No, what he's doing is playing the results. I mean,
Ron, those orcas, next time, just like next time the bear would kill him, next time those orcas could just kill that lady.
Tear her
But
apart.
listen, but Chris, look at the situation, Chris. She's on a board in the middle of the ocean. What are her options? What are her options?
Don't do that as a hobby.
No, that's not true. That's not true. Come on. You know, you have a bad car
Honestly,
accident,
fair.
you never drive again? You have a bad car accident, you never drive again? Come on,
You have
Chris.
to get in the car to go to work.
You get eaten by orcas, you never go in the water again? Come on.
Do we
You
know
get
if the
eaten by
sister...
orcas, you're never going to go in the water again because you're done. But the bottom line is this, guys. These animals are not these malicious monsters. We tend to sensationalize these things. You know, the term killer whale is probably a bad connotation in many ways. They're very smart cetaceans. We've heard these instances now where these certain pods are going after some boats out in Portugal. Hey, you never know what spurred them on. You know, just like with people, there are some bad apples in every group.
Ron, I have to drive. I don't need to be near orcas.
Yeah, but if it's something you love, if
What
it's
was
something
that?
being
Near
out in the
orcas.
ocean
I got it, Chris.
and being close to those animals, that's exhilarating. You know, listen, again, I don't want to be in front of a television with a remote control feeling safe, just going through a bunch of boring shows. I want to go out there and live life and experience those things that make my heart beat faster.
Ron, I just recently bought a new kitten, and we're slowly introducing our kitten to our cat. And I was wondering if at the zoo you have to do the same sort of thing with lions or tigers because
Or bears.
scents become
A meet and greet?
territorial. Yeah, where we're keeping the kitten basically in a separate room for the minute, and then we're going to put a little screen up so that they can kind of sniff each other, but they can't be near each other until, I guess, a week or so in. It sort of depends on how they're feeling.
Listen, absolutely we do that with the animals here at the zoo. And many times it takes not just a week, it can take months sometimes to make those introductions. The people have these misconceptions. Oh, heck, it's a male and female, put them together, they'll do what comes naturally. Couldn't be further from the truth. Many times they'll try to kill each other. Just like
humans.
Just like with people, they generally have to kind of like each other and get along to be able to be paired together. So yes, whenever we have a new animal, it goes through a quarantine period, and then it goes through a very subtle introduction period where we, for instance, with our birds are the worst. Pound for pound, birds are the most aggressive vertebrates on the planet. So when we go into our big aviary, for instance, we'll put a bird in a smaller introduction cage, and it's able to be seen by the other birds. It's able to see the other birds. The keepers that can watch the reaction with the other birds, whether they're being aggressive through the cage or not, and then they can decide, using their judgment and experience, when is the best time to release that bird into the aviary.
How many whales, Ron, would be a threat as killers to humans?
One.
So that's the only one. And how often do orcas actually kill human beings? How rare is that? And how afraid? I know you tell us that the animals are usually more afraid of us than we are of them, but I had not considered, actually, and this is my fault, I had not considered the orca as a killer whale any more dangerous than any other whale to humans. I didn't think whales were dangerous to humans.
Well, orcas are carnivores. They're cetaceans. Unlike the big whales, the pelagic whales, the humpbacks, things like that, which tend to feed on plankton. They're not feeding on things like the killer whales, which feed on seals and sea lions. So theoretically, a person could be prey, but I personally don't know of any attack by a killer whale that's killed a human being. I don't know of any. There may be some, but I don't know in the back of my mind of any.
I saw an animal this week I had never seen before. I'd be curious if the room has ever seen this. I am about to show you a monkey that looks like an old man. You guys tell me.
The Jimmy Durante monkey. I bet you it's a Jimmy Durante monkey.
Yeah, what? Okay, I should have said that. That would have been funnier. I'm about to show you a monkey that looks like Jimmy Durante. Can you guys put up a photo at some point of Jimmy Durante so that people can see this monkey that looks like Jimmy Durante? That's one of the bigger noses you will find in the animal kingdom. That nose is seems to be almost, I think, longer than his entire face. What the hell is that, Ron?
That's a proboscis monkey. I actually was able to photograph those things in Borneo. The males are the ones that develop those big noses. Those big noses are a bit of a sexual attraction to the females. And the bigger nose usually gets the more females. They are a spectacular primate out of Borneo, out of Indonesia, those areas. And like I said, it's the males that get the big noses. The females actually have a little cute nose.
He also looks like Mel Brooks, by the way, but continue.
Okay.
Jewish, yeah.
Well, all right. Thank you, Ron. Good talking to you. Go ahead and put yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes. I wanted to let the listeners know that, listen, if you want to take an amazing trip, I'm going to announce the trip. I'm going to lead a trip to the Galapagos Islands, December 12th through the 20th, right before Christmas. It's going to be an incredible trip. Only 12 people I'm taking. Go to the zoo, go to the zoo's website. It'll tell you how to direct to that trip. I'm going to lead this trip. I've been to the Galapagos several times. It is the trip of a lifetime. If you've never been there, what a great holiday treat for you. Book that trip, man.
Do you want to give them the website information in the event that they don't end up in the right place for whatever reason?
Sure. Go to zoomiami.org and you'll navigate through there. I don't know exactly how to navigate, but it'll tell you the Galapagos trip. It's like $8,200 per person. Go under travel program. Under support travel program under the zoomiami.org.
What happened?
But it's like I said, it's $8,200 per person. It's going to be 8 days 2 in Quito and 6 on the Galapagos Island. Oh, you already got it up there. Look at that. You guys are amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, this trip is going to be incredible. I've been there several times. This is the best itinerary I've ever put together. Right before the holidays, you're back before Christmas, and it's just 12 people limited to that I'm going to be leading on this trip. Incredible trip. Book it if you want it, maybe.
Durante was an Italian man, referred to his nose as the Schnazzola.
All right, very good. Thank you, Ron. Good information there, Jeremy. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
That's right. It's time for Against the Spread. And it is brought to you by our lovers at DraftKings. Stay tuned because you're going to hear everything that DraftKings has throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Jeremy, kick us off.
Going to start with some Major League Baseball. And those of you who haven't been paying attention might not realize the Atlanta Braves might not make the playoffs this season. Haven't been playing all that great as of late. Haven't been playing that well all season long. They're in San Francisco taking on Robbie Ray and the Giants. The Giants are favored in this one, -1.5. We're going to take the Giants
against the spread.
So you're taking them to win by more than a run if you're taking them at -1.5. Acuna's kind of important to the Braves.
Yeah, kind of important.
Kind of matters.
Yeah, he matters.
Jess, you're up.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Mike. The WNBA is back tomorrow. All the players are back from Paris, and 3 of them play for the Mercury. Clea Copper, MVP of that final gold medal match, Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner, and they're playing against the Chicago Sky, who had no players in Paris. So
I like where you're headed.
It's +3 right now for the Sky against the Mercury, who is undoubtedly a better team, but I'm going to give the Sky the edge there because they're coming off better rest.
Tired.
More
Diana
practice
Taurasi,
together.
well rested, though.
Yeah.
True, she did not play
Didn't
on
play,
Sunday.
yeah.
But she did play
DNP.
earlier in the tournament, and they had to fly back from France, and they were probably partying on Sunday, I would have to guess. So, I don't know. Sleepy legs.
Against the spread.
Against the spread. Take it the Sky +3, just to reiterate.
I like that.
I'm going to stay in the W, and I'm going to go opposite. I'm going oppo with that. The Atlanta Dream are facing the Seattle Storm, and they had some players that play for Australia. Salute to my sister Raygun, Ezzy McBador, and also Sammy Whitcomb. They got the bad taste in their mouth right now of that, the bronze medal they got?
Bronze medal, yeah.
Salute to bronze.
But Jewel also on the gold team.
Also Jewel on the gold team. She's not going to
play
have to do
Sunday.
much because they're playing the Atlanta Dream. And as we know, the Atlanta Dream need a little help. So I'm going with the Seattle Storm plus or -7 against the spread.
Tony is writing in Costco pizza. I was laughed at for having it on my list of best pizza. Tony from the beyond.
Oh, God, that pizza list.
It's not the list, Dan. It's who delivers the list. I mean,
Well, but I think people were objecting in here. I'm not familiar with the Costco pizza. I will not mock someone for finding value and taste in a bargain. So if you tell me the Costco pizza is exceptional, I'm not going to dismiss that opinion just because it's Costco or just because it's cheap.
Here's what I'm objecting to. Ron was featured in Eater Miami, and his answer to best pizza was Costco. Not like any of the local, not showing love to any of the local pizza joints. I bet it's good pizza. It's Costco. They make things well there. But Tony, yes, we are still laughing at you.
I wanted to ask you guys something here about what Joe Rogan told Adam Sandler about Will Smith. I just bought Will Smith's biography because I'm interested in the entirety of his life. And we were talking about movie stars earlier. Will Smith is the only one ever to make 8 consecutive $100 million movies. There's never been another. And so Sandler and Rogan are talking, and this is what Rogan said, and I do not agree with it. In everybody's mind, when you see Will Smith, oh, he slapped Chris Rock. Not I Am Legend, not Muhammad Ali, not insanely good movies. Guy's an incredible actor. He's been in so many banger movies. He's a bleeping blockbuster movie star, and when people see him, they go, oh, he slapped Chris Rock. Is that what you guys do? Because it is not at all what I do, even though that was a moment heard round America.
We all just back here disagreed. I still think of Fresh Prince. I don't know.
I think of the Men in Black dance with all the guys in the suits. Here come the Men in Black.
What do you think of, Amin, when you think of Will Smith? If you're doing Will Smith word association.
I think my mic isn't on.
Oh, wow. Mike's not on.
Look, I understand what he's saying. I don't personally think of that slap, but that slap was a pretty big deal. And so the Bad Boys, what's the latest Bad Boys called? Not For Life. What's it called?
Forever or something.
Forever, yeah, whatever. That press tour was so huge because they were trying to erase basically the last memory that anybody had of Will Smith, which was slapping Chris Rock. It's not as small a deal as I think you're trying to imply that it is, but at the same time, yeah, like Jess said, I think of Fresh Prince first of all, and then I think the next thing I think about probably is Welcome to Earth.
Put it on the poll, Juju, at Le Batard Show. First thing you think of when you think of Will Smith, Fresh Prince, movie star, or slapped Chris Rock?
Juju says it was Bad Boys Ride or Die, by the way. The second thing I think of, Men in Black Ride at Universal, where you shoot the aliens.
Oh, yeah.
Best ride at Universal.
Chris Cody mentioned to me that he wanted to surprise me with a home run call he thought I would enjoy. So I have not heard the home run call that Chris Cody thinks that all of us will enjoy. Is this Big Christmas? He likes to pimp out his trots. Let's see what we've got here.
There's a ball hammered. Deep left. Way out of here. Big Christmas and a one-horse open sleigh. Rounding the bases after an absolute missile of a home run. And the Guardians take the lead 2-1. My goodness.
Oh, Smiley, he wants to kill himself. He hung him a breaking ball, and boy, Noel took advantage of it.
Smiley wants to kill himself, is what the color commentator said. Oh, Smiley, he wants to kill himself.
There will be more baseball at the end of this hour. Pitch Clock with Jeremy has taken the world by storm. But Chris Cody also wanted me to hear a Jeff Francoeur story that I have not heard. Now, Jeff Francoeur, if you do not know who he was a former Atlanta Brave. And I don't know the context of this story at all, but other teammates used to enjoy making fun of Francoeur because he was a bit of an airhead. He could be He could be somebody who sometimes would miss obvious things. So can you do me the favor, please, Chris, at your leisure?
Like a grooved-in fastball?
Does anyone here know or care about Jeff Francoeur? Because he's on here with Tim Kirkshin. By the way, Tim Kirkshin does such a great job with this podcast with his son, and I know he is enjoying the holy hell this late in life as baseball shrinks so much at ESPN to be able to do this with his son.
I love this story. This is Jeff Francoeur telling it, but it's really a Bobby Cox story. This is great.
But what the coolest Bobby Cox story is, guys, is Bobby during spring training loved us to play golf, loved this. We were playing the Yankees at 1 o'clock on a day game, and I was 22 years old. I had been playing for 3 months as a starter. I was not going to go up to Bobby and be like, hey, I need the day off, right? But he comes out to stretch and goes, Smoltzy said you had a chance to play with Tiger today. There was a 150 tee time. And I'm like, Bobby, I'm fine. I'm playing today. He goes, no, I'll make you a deal. He said, after your first at bat today, run through first base and kind of rub your ankle a little bit like you hurt your ankle. And he's like, in 2 days, we're going to Bradenton. And Tim, you have to have 3 starters make a road trip.
Sure.
And he's like, I hate Bradenton's infield. I don't want to get any of the guys hurt. So if you go to Bradenton, I'll let you go play with Tiger today. So sure enough, man, we're playing the Yankees, 13,000 people in Orlando. I ground out the first at bat. I run through first and I start, rubbing my ankle. And, Bobby, he waddles out there with his cleats. And he checks on me. I run inside. I literally throw my golf clothes on. I didn't shower. I get to the golf course, and they're on the first fairway. So I hit my tee shot. We end up playing 27 holes. And about 4:30, my wife sends me a little thing that there was an update that said Francoeur day-to-day with a high ankle sprain.
Can you guys look up
So
for
good.
me, please, how many times Bobby Cox was ejected in his career? Because I think it was a full season of
162 career ejections. The next
Amazing.
most is 121.
They don't make them like Bobby Cox anymore, I'm telling you.
Put it on the poll, Juju. Do they make them like Bobby Cox anymore?
Waddling out to the base, just classic. I can still see it to this day.
Where's Tony La Russa on this list?
He was ejected 98 more times than Lou Piniella.
Who came in at 120?
121 was John McGraw.
Huh.
Okay, that's like 1800.
Earl Weaver's at 96. La Russa, 93.
Lou Piniella, I think, is the only one of those managers who ran out and grabbed second base and threw it into center field. I think there's video of that.
I think he threw it at an ump, didn't he?
No, he didn't throw the base at an ump. The bases are surprisingly heavy. You'd be surprised.
Lloyd McClendon's the one that turned the rosin bag into
It's a grenade.
Yeah.
And then did the army crawl on his elbows?
Watch Bruce Bochy,
That's
still
a different
active.
one.
He's on the list.
That's a minor league
John
manager.
McGraw was born in 1873.
Okay.
Which generation is that?
Can you guys get me, please, the video of just this is not a Hal McRae ejection, but I want to play for the young people here perhaps a video that they have not seen before of Hal McRae spinning around and throwing a landline into the wall. That is how old this video is in the manager's office. See if you can find that for me because I'd like to throw that at the people before we get out of here on the hour. But Chris Cody mentioned to me something that I was not aware of. I don't know if it's this month, this time, or this day, but Chris Cody has officially announced that with the Olympics over and with football approaching, that it is officially running through walls time. It is a time
to run through a wall
where all of a sudden you're getting a whole lot of quotes about players saying that they're willing to run through walls for their coaches, and not since, I don't know, the original Dolphin, whose name escapes me now, Raygun. He was Samoan.
Raygun Mawia.
Thank you, Stugotz.
You got it.
Not Raygun Mawia, but Raygun Mawia ran through drywall famously, and we all just said draft him because in the weight room he physically ran through a wall.
He actually did it.
But it was just drywall. Why is it running through walls season right now, Chris?
Because the other day, J.J. McCarthy, we played the clip of him telling the Vikings, hey, you want to draft me? I'll run through a wall for you. And they drafted him. He got hurt the next day, so people are blaming me, saying we finally got to that topic, and it's my fault that he hurt his knee. But now it's just they're falling out of the sky. People are tweeting at me, and we have a Jets player, Morgan Moses, who is the latest to run through a wall?
First of all, it starts with the head coach, Coach Sala. Guys will run through a wall for him. You know, there's not many head coaches out here where guys can say, like, dude, like, I will die on the field for this dude. You know what I'm saying?
I want to see one person run through a wall.
Other than the Kool-Aid man?
Tony?
Not count.
Not drywall, though, like a real one.
I'll take any wall, honestly.
What do you mean by that?
We just had a discussion about Raygun Mawia, who ran through drywall. Like, he did it.
You need it to be a brick wall like the Kool-Aid man.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Fair
yeah.
enough.
Or John Wall.
Oh.
Run through John Wall.
Huh. I would run through a wall for Matt Eberflus with a beard, but I would not do it for him without a beard.
Fair.
Also, his hair is slick back, not push back.
Yes, he looks so much better.
Stugotz,
What a reinvention.
I would be willing to start a new segment right now based on how this one goes, even though it's more video than audio, in which, because I'm not sure Amin has seen this either. He wouldn't have had access to baseball highlights from the 80s, but this is one of the more famous managerial meltdowns after a game. Hal McRae is the manager of the Royals. He is in his office after a game, and I'd like to see how many of you have seen this and whether you'd be down for a segment in which we play again and again video that we're introducing you to from the past. Okay, for some reason we don't have the sound with this. The sound is much better than just the video. If the B-roll here doesn't work, if you don't have him spinning around, this is terrible video.
This video is trash.
Hold on.
Salute.
To the audio audience. Basically, first of all, it's very grainy. It's 80s style video. The guy holding the camera isn't very confident because it's very shaky.
There's like a vignette around the corners.
Number two, and this is the thing that shocked me more than anything, is that they were doing the post-game presser in his office.
I was going to ask, okay, so he's like throwing stuff off his desk. By the way, so a thing that's always in the movies that like I've never had the opportunity to do. I would love to just go, just slide everything off my desk.
I've thought that with, like, in movies, like, the sex scenes sometimes start that way. It's like, it's just now we have a mess to clean up afterwards. Like, there's a couch over here. Like, why am I
broke my
going to
laptop.
clear off everything?
Now I got to clean.
I meant more angrily, but I guess sexily too works.
Yeah.
I think baseball managers still do their press conference stuff in their offices. Is that not a thing?
No, at least not for the Marlins. It's not. They have like a separate press conference room because they need to have a TV camera in there so that they can.
You have to be
properly get
old
it to the
school to
broadcast.
do it, to pull it off. You just sit in your office. You sit in your chair. It's, hey, I'm not coming to you. You want to talk to
So
me?
like
you
Bochy
come to
can
me.
do it.
Yes.
La Russa could do it.
Bobby
but Skip
Cox,
Schumacher
Earl
can't.
Weaver, any of those guys. Yes.
Can we run the video again? Because I want to examine what was on his desk. It looked like an answering machine.
They're going to try and get better video. They were. It was unfair what I did to them, asking them to get that quickly, and so they're going to see if they have better camera work than that. But it was, 1980s, so
That's
I don't.
what I'm saying.
But I'm with Stugotz on this one. I do wonder if in the big leagues, because I remember when it is that I had to talk to Joe Girardi or Don Mattingly, I wasn't going into a separate area.
Right.
I was going into
Yes.
their office, and it wasn't just me who was going into their office. It was also the local television crews as well. It was camera crews as well, and there would be 24 people gathered around the manager's desk. And I do wonder if this is a matter of sometimes the manager says it has so much seniority that he's saying, I'm not going out there. I'm going to do it right here in my office.
Do they not have all types of proprietary stuff on the walls, like whiteboards with all types of moves and things that you don't want out?
Jim
everywhere?
Leland just had an ashtray. I mean.
That's the concern, I think, though, Amin, is that they have all sorts of like information up on their walls now, the assistant coaches as well, that maybe it wasn't happening that way before. But right now, like Skip Schumacher, pregame, he's in the dugout, and that's where they have all of the local TV cameras go. And then postgame, there's a postgame clubhouse.
It's a media
spot.
availability thing.
Yeah.
Are we worried about Skip giving away the secrets?
It does feel like a good opportunity for a little like espionage. You pose someone as like a young reporter, get them credentialed, and they go in there and they take little iPhone pictures of the walls, see the lineup, see I don't know what other things, the hand signals. What do they do?
We talked to Connor Stallions and figure out what do you do in this kind of situation? How do you do the espionage thing? How do you pretend?
The Marlins whiteboard just says you get their secrets. We're going to trade everyone after the game.
A trade
Look
board.
at Jeremy. He's still pissed off about the conversation we had last week about the Marlins while he was on vacation. All right, so in order to tease pitch clock here, that's going to be an hour and be a perfect, or at the end of this hour, be a perfect bridge to it by hearing more Jeremy before we get to more Jeremy. Go ahead and object to everything we said Marlins related while you were on vacation.
Thanks for that setup, Dano. I look, the Marlins making this move this time around is the right one. They're a bad baseball team. They didn't have a ton of great players on that team. They took the assets that they had. They took their farm system from being the very worst in Major League Baseball to moving it up to about halfway. They acquired, I believe, 10 of their best prospects in these deals. They acquired 7 of the 25 best prospects who were acquired at the deadline. Several of them can rake, and they're going to be here not 5 years from now. They're all supposed to be in the bigs in the next year or two. So it's not like you're sitting around and waiting forever. You took a bad team. You gave yourself a chance for the future. This is not what happened in 2017.
I need more of this. I
wanna
need
run
more,
through a wall.
More baseball talk. Next.
Next. Welcome to the Pitch Clock. Here's the pitch. A 2-part baseball segment
combining a nostalgic baseball trivia game and an interview with an expert.
This is the Pitch Clock. Back with another episode of the Pitch Clock, and we have Roy Bellamy and Chris Cody with us for this one for the game. We'll have our guests coming up momentarily, but Taylor, tell us, what game are we playing today?
The game this week is 3 strikes and you're out, and you guys can flip the papers.
All right.
You'll be guessing opening day starting pitchers from the 2000 season. So you have the team and the initials of the starting pitcher, and then you'll alternate guesses.
I like this a lot. We'll let Roy get the first guess here, and maybe
I want to
we'll
go
just...
first.
No, he already said my name.
All right, so it'll go Roy, me, Chris.
I'm gonna go
just
with-
sort of
Hey,
in
hey,
order. Hold on a second,
Randy
Chris.
Johnson.
Oh,
God
you
damn
jerk!
it, you piece of shit.
Why are you doing this to us?
I'm sorry. That's obviously Roy's guess. I saw him circling it. He's clearly going to guess it. It's a Diamondback
All right,
with
so-
the initials RJ.
All right. So, opening day starters from the year 2000. Roy, what's your guess?
All right, for the Baltimore Orioles.
Oh, you're not. You're okay. So we're just gonna let Chris go first then. All right, Chris went first. You picked Randy Johnson.
Yeah, Randy Johnson's out of there.
Unbelievable.
So for the Baltimore
Sure.
Orioles, I am going to go with Mike Mussina.
Oh, good guess.
That is correct.
That's correct. All right, 2 off the board there. I'll go ahead and pick the Florida Marlins, Alex Fernandez.
Okay.
Good call.
2000. I mean, that's obvious. I mean, we're Marlins.
Got initials here.
Yeah.
All right, so after round 1, thus far, Chris has selected Randy Johnson. Roy has selected Mike Mussina. I've selected Alex Fernandez. Chris, you are now on the clock. And Roy, since you don't know, here on the pitch clock, you only have 20 seconds, the length of the pitch clock, to make your pick. Chris,
Wow.
you're up.
How about that?
I know a handful of these. I'm gonna try to take away some of the easier ones.
Yeah, of course you are.
I'll take away Greg Maddux from the Braves.
That is correct.
For the Boston Red Sox, I'm going with Pedro Martinez.
That's a good
That
one.
is correct.
Oh, there's a bunch of easy ones on here.
Boston Red Sox, Pedro Martinez. How about the Cleveland baseball team, Bartolo Colon?
Yeah,
That is
that's
correct.
good. That's good.
All right, so
There's
through 2
no
rounds,
way.
there have been no strikes yet. Chris Cody just landed. Who did Chris get?
Wait a
Greg
minute.
Maddux.
Yeah.
Roy landed Pedro Martinez, and I just got Bartolo Colon. Round number 3. up
I'm
for
not
Chris.
gonna guess this one next because there's easier ones, but the Tigers is intriguing to me.
Yeah, I have the same.
HN.
I have the exact same thought. I
Is
think
it
that
a-
you do.
Yeah.
I think we
me
all
too.
have the same thought, but I'm not sure that it's.
Did he play that?
I'm nervous. I don't think so.
It must have been a short
Yeah.
I don't
cup of
know.
coffee,
6
that
seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Shit, Mike Hampton, Mets.
Oh,
nice. That is
nice.
correct.
That's good. That's good.
That scared me there.
I'm
Can
gonna
you, hey, can you hit me at 10 seconds, please? I mean,
Yep.
Jesus, give me 6s.
You were doing a little preamble.
Yeah.
On.
I'm gonna
I didn't know the time officially started.
I'm going to stay in the American League Eastern Division with the New York Yankees and Orlando Hernandez.
Oh,
El
good one, El
Duque.
Duque. All right, and then I'm gonna head out west. The Los Angeles Dodgers, Kevin Brown.
It is Kevin Brown.
Wow.
And now we're very excited here on the Pitch Clock to welcome in our newest baseball expert on our show. It's Joe Posnanski. It's Joe Blogs on Substack. He's the host of the Poscast, as you all know. He's also the author of the Baseball 100 and Why We Love Baseball, A History in 50 Moments. Joe, thank you so much for joining us today on the Pitch Clock.
Great to be here.
people might be surprised if they're just tuning into Major League Baseball right now to know that the Braves are on the cusp of potentially missing the playoffs. They're the last wild card team in the National League at the moment, and you've got teams like the Mets, the Cardinals, the Giants, the Cubs sort of nipping at their heels. What's your level of surprise with the way the Braves have played thus far this season, and do you think that they're going to end up making the postseason, or will they be someone who comes up short?
It's really crazy because I'm surprised on two different levels with the Braves. I'm surprised that, they're in this position, right, that you're talking about. I mean, this is a team that came into the year, I think, as the most complete team in baseball, even including the Dodgers. But honestly, I'm more surprised they're still in it. I mean, you lose 2 of the 10, 15 best players in baseball. You lose a Ronald Acuna Jr., who might have been the best player in baseball. And you lose Spencer Strider, who might have been the best pitcher in baseball. You lose both those guys in the same year. I mean, I don't know that there's any other team that could handle that. I mean, if the Yankees lost Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, I mean, they're not a playoff team.
Right.
I mean, they're not even close to a playoff team. The Dodgers lost. They lost Mookie. The Dodgers are probably the only other team that could do it. But if they lost Shohei and Mookie, I mean, that lineup would just be, completely gone. Obviously, the Dodgers have lost a lot of people. So, and they've managed to overcome that. But the Braves. So in some ways, I'm surprised, certainly, that they're not in better position than they are, because I still do think that they have more talent than all these teams that are chasing after them. But on the other hand, I mean, that's a beating. To lose Ronald Acuna Jr. and Spencer Strider, that's a beating.
All right, so through 3 rounds, no strikes thus far. The names off the board are Randy Johnson, Kevin Brown, Greg Maddux, Alex Fernandez, Mike Hampton, Bartolo Colon, Mike Mussina, and Pedro Martinez and Orlando Hernandez.
Yeah.
So, Chris, you're up.
All right, I have 2 here that I was like, which one's easier? Actually, this.
I'm starting to run out of names that I'm going to know here, guys.
3 or 4 more that I know. I'll go Pirates, Jason Schmidt.
Oh, that's a good one.
Man,
it's Jason Schmidt.
Bro, this is my wheelhouse. 2000.
2000, yeah.
I'm not gonna do it better at anything in life.
How old were you in 2000? Because this is a little tough. Right. So I was 5.
Yeah.
So this is getting a little dicey for me.
Going to the National League Western Division for the San Francisco Giants, I am going LeBron Hernandez.
Wow.
Good.
I was trying to find that one.
Guys, I think I might get my first strike here.
Roy didn't want to play this either. He's like, guys, I'm not a baseball guy. I'm like,
no, I didn't say I wasn't a baseball guy. I'm just saying I'm getting old. I'm starting to forget.
I'm going to stay in the West.
Still a baseball guy.
Seattle Mariners, Jamie Moyer.
Oh.
Crafty lefty.
All right. So
Let's go on.
Through 4 rounds, thus far there have been 0 strikes. 12 starting pitchers from 2000 opening day are off the board. Chris Cody, kick us off for round number 5.
Blue Jays, David Wells.
That's good.
David Wells is a very good one.
I got like 1 or 2 more.
I think I've got maybe 2.
For the American League West, I'm going with the Texas Rangers with Kenny Rogers.
Yep, that's one of mine.
Didn't know that one.
Oh, no. All right, this is, I think,
Roy
potentially...
is deep in his bag right now.
Yeah, this is unbelievable, Roy. You walked in here thinking you weren't going to know anything, and you haven't gotten one wrong yet.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, boy.
This is hard.
It's making me emotional.
10 seconds.
All right, I think I'm going to go for the guess, guys.
Yeah, you got
you're going for
Detroit Tigers, Hideo Nomo.
Yeah.
It is Hideo.
Oh, yes!
I was like, I
Thank
can't even think of another
goodness.
pitcher with those initials.
Oh, my gosh. So we're through 5 rounds without a strike thus far. 15 starters off the board. Now it's going to have to start getting dicey. Round number 6, Chris Cody, get us started.
Okay. Trying to think which one of these 2 that I know that you would be least likely. Was he pitching this early? I just had a brain fart. I'm going to go with the one I know. Daryl Kyle, R.I.P. St. Louis Cardinals.
Wow.
That's a good poll.
That's I would never.
I had that one in my bag. I've been saving it.
I would never have gotten that. When we look at some of the good teams, there's also the bad teams. And when we talk about the bad teams, there is a historically bad team in the Chicago White Sox. At the moment, I believe that we're recording this, they're 28-91. They had a 21-game losing streak. They're on pace right now, I believe, for more than 120 losses, which would break the modern era record for the most losses in a season. The 1962 expansion New York Mets lost 120 games. Can you contextualize just how horrendous this season has been for the Chicago White Sox?
I mean, it is it's this season is sort of the crescendo of one of the most remarkable collapses we've ever seen. I mean, this is an organization that 4 years ago was, they won 93 games and were young and kind of exciting. I mean, they made that bizarro hiring of Tony La Russa to be their manager, and it kind of still didn't matter. They still won a bunch of games and went to the playoffs, and you were just like, this team is going places. They had some prospects, they had some young guys. I mean, their pitching staff was really good, and you're just like this. And the hiring of La Russa, I do believe, is what started this collapse. I mean, it's like it was such a bizarre, it was just so off center of what that team was supposed to be about. They were supposed to be this young, exciting team, and you hire an 80-year-old Hall of Famer. It just felt so weird. But you can't blame Tony La Russa for this. I mean, since his retirement or whatever you want to call the ending, they've just completely collapsed. I mean, they've collapsed organizationally. They've collapsed. Players that they had high hopes for have collapsed. Their pitching staff is completely shattered and fallen apart. I mean, it's incredible. And now you look at that team, and honestly, if there was an expansion draft, I don't think anybody would. I mean, except for maybe Luis Robert, I don't think there's a single player on that team anybody wants. I mean, it is. Well, I mean, there is, but we don't want to get into the whole pitching issue there. But I mean, that team is so they're one of those teams. You look at their record, right? So right now, 28-91. You look at that record, and you look at that team, and you're like, yeah, no, that's right. That's what that record should be. I mean, that they're no better than 28-91.
The American League Central, I'm going with the Minnesota Twins and Brad Radke.
Oh, wow.
That was my next guess.
So in
Brad Radke.
Paul Radke's nephew.
Wow.
I'm not sure I have.
What team is
Guys,
that?
I might
Minnesota.
lose this game. I might lose this game.
Minnesota. Okay.
Yeah, I'm running out over here, man.
There is not one that's standing out to me.
10 seconds.
Woo.
30 seconds.
I don't have one. I literally can't. I can't think of one. That's
strike
number one for me, and it looks like I'm gonna be out of here real quick because I genuinely don't think I have an answer through 6 rounds. I am the only one with a strike, and I have run out of names here.
Am I up?
The good news for the two of you is more likely than not, you guys can just get both of your strikes, but I'm going to get to 3 strikes first because this is a disaster.
Yeah.
Chris Cody, you're up here. 15 pitchers, 17 pitchers have gone off the board?
I might be a little early for this guy, but I don't know what other guy could have been their ace. John Lester, Cubs?
No.
Oh,
it's a strike.
Oh, wow. Oh.
Available.
I think I'm out of names here, so I'm going to go with a joke for the Philadelphia Phillies. Antonio Alfonseca.
That was the joke.
That is incorrect.
Yeah, there you go. So I got a strike. So we all have strikes now.
I am no closer to knowing any of these names.
Oh, I just thought, hold on.
W. B. Williams.
Wow.
An H. JS feels like I should know it with the Royals. It just does.
I just found it.
You know it. It just came to your head by me doing it.
Yep.
I hate that.
baby.
JS.
You want me to give it to you?
John? Is it a John?
No.
John,
I bet you I could tell you
5
his
seconds.
first name and you still wouldn't get it.
I don't have it. I don't have it. I'm going to take another strike. I'm just taking it right down the middle.
All right, so it's my turn?
Yeah, that's strike number 2 for me. And let's just know that means we are now through, I believe, 7 rounds of this game. I have 2 strikes. Chris Cody has 1 strike. Roy Bellamy has 1 strike. Chris Cody, your guess.
Royals, Jeff Suppan.
Yes!
Suppan!
No!
Wow.
No soup for me. Okay, I know, not a good joke. It's my show.
Show. Yeah,
all right. To me, I think this has been one of the best years for superstars thriving in Major League Baseball. Obviously, in the National League, you got Shohei Ohtani and everything that he is as the superstar that he is. Yeah. Then you got those 2 young shortstops, and there's more than that. But the 2 young shortstops in the American League in Bobby Witt Jr. and Gunnar Henderson. So the question I have for you, Is Aaron Judge the clear and away best player in baseball, or do one of these guys give him a run for his money?
Well, I definitely think, I mean, Shohei is his own thing. I never, when people ask me like who the best player in baseball is, I'm like, well, Shohei Ohtani is his own category and then the rest of them, right? Because Shohei Ohtani is certainly one of the 5 best players in baseball now as a designated hitter,
right,
which is, a whole other thing. I mean, if he was pitching, nobody comes close to him. So look, I think, and I just came back actually from Kansas City where people are pretty excited about the Royals. And, you won't convince a single person in Kansas City that Bobby Witt Jr. is not the best player in baseball. I mean, the way he is offensively, defensively, on the base paths, I mean, he's everything. He's absolutely everything. And then, I'm sure in Baltimore you would get similar, thoughts about Gunnar Henderson, right? I mean, he's been everything for that team. That said, all of that said, with no disrespect to those young guys, yeah, we've not seen a guy hit like Aaron Judge, since Barry Bonds in his heyday, and obviously people have their own feelings about that. I'm not.
What you're seeing on your screen right now, Joe, is our producer Taylor, who's a diehard Yankees fan, in his Yankees shirt, holding up the MVP for Aaron Judge.
Yeah, well, I actually, by the way, think he could be the best player in baseball, and they could still give the MVP to Bobby Witt Jr.
That's right.
I think when you look at what Bobby Witt Jr. is doing for that team, but I think it's fair to say I'm not a Yankee guy, as anybody who's ever listened to the podcast knows. But Aaron Judge is a generational hitter. I mean, we haven't seen anybody, even Albert Pujols in his prime, A-Rod in his prime. Those guys aren't hitting the way Aaron Judge has hit the last 3 seasons, and he's absolutely incredible, and he's got great star power. I mean, he is. I think right now, if you had to say, all right, best player in baseball, non-Shohei division, yeah, I think right now it's Aaron Judge.
Roy,
oh man,
can you foul one off here? Can you stay alive? Can you keep up with Chris Cody, or are you going to get your second strike here as well?
I think I might get my second strike. I think I am out of names here.
10 seconds.
I can't really think of anything. The Reds, Pat Hinkin.
That's incorrect.
Okay. All right. Woo. Well, I tried on that
All
one.
right. I'm looking at one team and just trying to see if it will come to me. I'm looking at
Talk me through it. Who
Okay, so I'm looking. Yeah, I know.
Me.
I'm going to talk you through it. I'm looking at the Angels.
10 seconds.
And I'm seeing KH, and it just feels like I should know who it is. But I don't. I don't know who it is.
3 seconds.
Kike Hernandez.
Incorrect.
Yeah, I figured as much. Okay, we're through 8 rounds, and I believe that was my 3rd strike. So I am out of this game. I've been rung up. Chris Cody, you have 1 strike. Roy, you have 2. So we're in a position here where, Chris, if you get this right, you are in major control of this game. If you get a strike, Roy can keep things alive and put the pressure back on you. Chris Cody.
Who's the JL if it's not John Lester? When did Lester get to the Cubs?
Way later.
After that,
yeah, way later.
He wasn't in 03? Yeah, I'm an idiot.
No,
That was a dumb guess.
He pitched for the Red Sox.
But JL and you see
First.
Cubs, I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, of
I
course.
kept thinking that the Angels guy was Kevin Millwood, but that would be KM.
Mm.
He
Yeah,
never even pitched
yeah.
for the...
5 seconds.
Okay. David Haas, Expos.
No.
I don't think I need to fact check that.
Yeah. All right, so that's 2 strikes. Roy, if you can get just one of these names, the pressure shifts to Chris, and if he strikes out, Roy Bellamy becomes the winner.
Right. No, you got to get
All
one.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
Okay.
That's true. I apologize for jumping the gun here, but this is a big moment. Roy, are you going to stay alive?
My guess for the Milwaukee Brewers is Scott Wilson.
Milwaukee Brewers. I need this list alphabetical.
Scott Wilson, you said?
That's a strike.
Strike 3 for Roy Bellamy.
And I completely made up that name.
So that's the end of
Random
it.
white guy.
That's the end of it.
Chris Cody.
Chris Cody, the winner of 2000 opening day starters
Say some of these
here
names
on the
to
pitch
me.
clock. Yeah, can you give us some of the names that we missed?
To help the audience make this easier, give me Cubs JL. Who's that?
John Lieber.
John Lieber.
Give me Angels KH.
No way.
Ken Hill.
I've never
Give
heard
me
of that
White
person.
Sox MS.
Mike Sorotica.
You're kidding me.
I don't know any of these.
Who are
Sterling
these people?
Hitchcock was the Padres.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
What about Rockies PA?
This is all making me feel better because at least it's not names that I knew.
Pedro Astacio.
Nope.
Okay. What about Reds PH? Oh, you just said that one?
Pete Harnish.
AA for the
Makes me
Philadelphia
feel better.
Phillies.
Andy Ashby.
Oh, he was still
We
pitching.
should have just
He was
guessed
still
that based
pitching.
off
ST for the Rays.
Steve Traskell.
My
What
goodness.
about
All right.
What about KA for the A's?
Kevin Napier.
Oh
Man, that's a name. That's a baseball name. That's one
about-
that makes me smile.
What about Astros SR?
This was one that Cougs actually got because I think he's an Astros fan. Shane Reynolds.
Shane
No,
Reynolds.
come on. That's not a person.
Yeah,
There's-
that
that's
is
not
a person.
That's not a
racist.
person.
That's all.
No, that's not a person.
So I feel like we did. I mean,
I feel like all
after
things
hearing
considered-
all those names, I got all the ones I knew.
We went-
Maybe Ashby's like the only one.
We went
Andy Ashby, I
15
should've gotten
straight.
that one.
15 straight without getting it out. I'm pretty proud of us, guys.
Yeah.
Look
Yeah.
at us.
How about us?
You're
How about us?
old.
Way to go.
By the, Amin, you could have given me a little hand signal that your mic was off. You know, well,
I did.
You just waited. No, you
I
waited
did.
till like, you
I-
talked, and you're like,
I-
"Oh, my mic's not."
I
on."
looked at you and I was like,
You could have just quietly been like, and then I put you on, and then no one ever knows.
I looked at you and made eye contact.
I didn't see it.
And
I
so I
missed it.
thought when
No.
I was like, either this is gonna work or it's
No,
not gonna work.
That was my bad.
Setting up Chris for failure.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
At
what
least
I'm,
it turned out to be hilarious.
you know, you know what I'm actually doing? I'm doing my silent protest of why don't this seat have one of these things? I
That's
don't
a good
understand.
question.
I don't
Talk
understand.
back button.
I'm just like
Any button.
like the thing for all that shit. Like, why wouldn't this seat have that
To not
functionality?
confuse Greg.
We have so many buttons around here.
Just don't let him. He didn't have to touch it. Like he sat in other seats.
He would touch it. Though.
We don't have a short. I'm with you. We don't have a shortage of buttons around here. So why not? Like we could add 3 more.
Right.
We have a million buttons right here. I'm just gonna start pushing
Like-
buttons one of these
Like
days.
I always feel bad when like Greg yesterday coughed and Dan's like, "That's $2." I'm like, "Where's these? There's no mute button."
Well, he actually does have it under there. There is a cough button for Greg. It's like a little.
Really?
It looks like a.
Yeah, David uses it a lot
Looks
when
like
he's
a
here.
detonator
I
button.
noticed.
It's all the way. Our mark
I've never
is
seen
here.
Greg use
Yeah.
it though.
Our mark is here. The button is all the way over
Yeah.
here. That's not. Like, come on, man. Like,
Yeah. It's a reach.
I mean,
I actually like that seat, so I'm going to ask them
Better
because
camera angle.
I know I like your seat better than I
Yeah?
like my seat.
You want
Yeah.
switch seats?
I mean, listen.
But you need that shit more than I
Dan
do.
asked me why I don't watch the show. It's because I look fat. It's because I have a terrible camera angle and I can't watch myself. I can't look at myself. I'm disgusted by myself. I
It's a
am.
bad angle.
I'm disgusted by you too.
Well, thank you.
But like, also, why would you watch the show if you're on it? You know,
Yeah,
like, you
I
don't
know.
need to hear your takes again,
Yeah.
right? Although I have noticed when I listen back
No,
to
I
the
do.
show, I hear like things that I didn't hear when I
Same.
was sitting here.
That we
like,
whiffed on, right?
Like when you said
Yes.
apparently that the last place NFL game would get more viewers than the Super Bowl. I didn't even hear you say that
Blew
yesterday.
my mind.
And Amin came in here fired up that none of us pushed back on it.
was
I was
like-
like, I didn't hear it.
Like the Raygun Mawia conversation that you guys
Kind of like
tuned out on.
you know, in the same vein as buttons. A lot of words are said around here. It's hard to catch them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said.
Also,
You want to talk candy?
yes.
All right.
Are we on?
I
been
believe
on,
we
Yeah,
are.
we've
baby.
been on.
I think so.
Juju's been eating Jolly Ranchers all day.
Good. I was telling Amin before the show that I think there is no bigger disparity in candy in terms of like a box of candy, right? Than the red from the best candy to the worst candy within that same box. And I think it's Juicy Fruits. I think the red and the orange are so good, they're the best. The worst one is the black. And the disparity in that is such a wide gulf. I can't like maybe the cherry Starburst versus the lemon Starburst. That's a massive fall off, but I think it's Juicy Fruits.
So I love the overall topic of what candy has the biggest fall off to the lowest, biggest drop off.
Right, from best to worst.
From best to worst. That's a great topic. The problem is, Stugotz, and you've been saying it all day long, and I said at some point, I'm not going to correct you. I'm just going to wait till we get to this segment. Juicy Fruit, Stugotz, is a Wrigley's gum. It's like saying one of these Winter Freshes is really good, but the other one is bad. Or one of these Double Mints is really good, but the other one's bad. Juicy Fruit is just gum. There are no different flavors of Juicy Fruit. It's a yellow pack, and it's just 5 sticks of gum. It used to be 25 cents for the longest time. I don't know how much they cost anymore. But they don't come in different flavors. It's just Juicy Fruit. You're thinking about jujubes, I think?
I think I am, yes.
Juji fruit?
Yeah. Yes.
J-U-J-Y fruit.
Maybe.
Is what the candy comes out. It feels like a slur, so I'm not going to say it again.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like juju should be.
Right, I'm talking. So I said gum, so I misspoke. I said juicy fruit, right.
You said juicy fruit.
Not what I'm
juicy
talking
fruit
about.
is
yes.
gum.
Juicy fruit
Right.
is
Juji
gum.
fruit is a candy.
That's what I'm talking about.
And it looks like
Yeah.
there's a red, like raspberry, and then there's a brown or like a purple grape flavor. Is that what you mean? The black one?
Yeah, it's
like
not good.
dark.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, there's an unequivocal
So I'm
winner.
sifting through, I'm sifting through the box. I'm trying to
You don't
find the
eat
good
those
ones. I'm
ones.
leaving the bad ones in the box. I don't like that. Just make all the flavors good. How about that?
I'll tell you right now, Stugotz, there's an unequivocal winner. There is no second
Is it
place.
Starburst?
No, it's not Starburst. Starburst, because I'll eat the Starburst flavors I don't like.
Lemon?
I'll eat lemon.
Really?
Like, if it's all that's left, I'll eat it. But I'll tell you what, jelly beans,
Right.
that black licorice jelly bean,
Ah.
Terrible.
nobody wants that one.
eat jelly
Samson,
beans?
Samson likes those.
My
You know what,
actual
actually-
favorite candy is a root beer jelly bean. I know
Also,
that's strange.
Samson also
Really?
doesn't have
My
a sense
favorite.
of taste.
I was on Reddit the other day, and there was like an Ask Reddit thread about like what if you want a product for the rest of your life at some point, what was it? Like if like in one of those contests.
Yeah.
I probably phrased that poorly, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, like,
you
hey,
want a free thing,
a
for the
lifetime
rest of your-
supply
right.
of blank.
What was it? And so one guy got one like an oil change, and like there were a bunch of different things, but one of them was jelly beans, and it actually like they were like, oh, it's a lifetime supply of jelly beans, but it ended up being like a humongous bag that they got one time, and I can't think of something that I would want less than that many jelly beans.
We all know the brown M&Ms are the best tasting M&Ms, though, right?
No.
They're
Way
all-
better than
I
the
like
blue
yellow.
or the
They
red.
all taste the same. It's just a color.
No, they don't.
It's just a color.
I got a terrible
No, it's like
Fruit
hypothetical.
Loops.
So you thought I was talking gum.
No, I knew you were wrong in saying juicy fruit, and you kept saying juicy fruit. And I'm like,
I know.
no. I'm like, no, and then
Yeah.
you're like, no, it's juicy fruit. I'm like, okay.
I have this will test what your favorite candy is. This is a terrible hypothetical. You have to, for the next week, every 10 minutes that you're awake, you have to eat this piece of candy.
10 minutes you're awake.
Every 10 minutes you're awake for the next week, you have to eat one
Six
piece of
times
candy.
an hour.
6 times an hour.
Can it
Like,
be,
you don't
like,
have to, like if
tiny?
it's Snickers, you don't. It's just a bite. Like you don't have to eat an entire Snickers if you choose Snickers. You have to take a bite of said candy every 10 minutes for a week that you're awake.
And then you have to take an insulin shot every day for the
Right,
rest
you're
of your
gonna
life.
be very sick. I'm just saying, if like I made you do this terrible thing, what candy are you choosing for this?
Huh.
If I had to, let's
I'll
just
go
like-
Skittles. I'll
you're
eat
like-
a Skittle.
I'll
every
go
10
Runts.
minutes. Runts?
Yeah.
It's nice and small.
Yeah.
You're telling me like
Skittles would hurt my
a
teeth.
weird
I like
sadistic
Runts.
genius said this is your life sentence. You have
Right.
to eat one of these.
You lost some random bet.
I'm gonna go with Reese's peanut butter cups.
I
See,
would
that's-
do Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, see,
Peanut
I'm going
butter all
small.
Just
day
throw a
long.
couple in your mouth.
Just
You're good.
one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeremy brought up a point. If you choose something like that, you're getting that same flavor for a week straight. Whereas if you choose Starburst every 10 minutes, I can at least have a different journey.
Nah, I like me a peanut butter and chocolate flavor.
Just a lot of peanut
You're
butter
just not
in
going
the
to be
span
able
of
to
a
eat
week.
it for the rest of your
Did
life.
you describe the eating of a Starburst as a journey?
It's like, ooh, I'm in Pink World now. Ooh, look.